Hello. I would like to open this episode by saying thank you to some people, like Dr. Suntree, Elias Toner, Aaron Winkle, April Mann, and Paul Mum. All of these are people who have gone to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and kicked us some money, and it really helped us out. That is how these shows stay alive. That is how we stay independent. Once again, patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv for all kinds of cool stuff.
My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Watch Out for Fireballs. It is a Games Club podcast.
And this week we are talking about Hitman 2, which is an immersive sim developed by IO Interactive and published by Warner Brothers in 2018.
Yes, the subtitleless Hitman 2.
Yes, not Hitman 2 Silent Assassin.
Yes. This is an executive produced episode by Alex D. Thank you, Alex.
You really had to twist my arm to get me to do this one.
Yeah. And this is, as we mentioned, the 2018 version of this. And this is the second part in that story, I guess. So it's good that we get, we know the third one's coming since the time we picked this and we recorded it.
Yeah. They announced Hitman 3 coming out in January, for which I'm very excited.
Dude, like, what is it about every time we go back to one of these? Like, this will be a little bit of a weird episode because this is the type of sequel that I think gets a really bad rap, but I actually want to see way more of. Yeah. Which is, like, I like a game. Maybe I do want more of the same of it.
Yeah. And we've kind of been on, we've been on the side of a product like this, like a mission pack expansion or whatever. Yeah. Although this does more than that. But we've been on the side of this kind of like product since at least like BioShock 2, maybe even before. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a thing where, I want more of Hitman 2016, basically no matter what.
Yes.
And every time I sit down to play one of these or I see something about it or anything like that, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is one of my favorite like video game franchises of all time. And this is a strong contender for a forever game. Yeah. If I was that type. And, this is so fucking good. So it's not like a thing where it advances the plot. There are a couple of minor advancements in play. But honestly, even if it is just like, here's 7 more Hitman locations. Yeah. Like every single one of those is a precious treasure.
Yes.
I cannot overstate the value of these as spaces, video game spaces, and we'll be lucky if every 2 years we get another set of these things. I don't think we will. I think they're going to wrap up the story and they'll probably let it rest for a little bit, which is probably good. But I just, I'm never going to turn this down.
It's kind of baffling to see a studio kind of at the height of their powers like this. I mean, specifically with the levels, like each of these is a wonderful machine that I just want to keep on a shelf and like keep on a shelf forever and take down and play with it. Like there's just so much here and it's so generous. I forget if we called the Hitman 2016 generous, if we had that word or the show's vocabulary back at that time, because time is meaningless. But yeah, this just keeps on giving in such a huge way.
And So that ends up having a little bit of a knock-on effect to the episode. I want to mention that, like the last one, this will not be all-inclusive.
Right.
And partly because this game is about giving you like 6 oceans. Here's all the oceans of the world. Like, they're that deep. There are all kinds of things. This is my second time I played it, and there were things I didn't know the first time, and then I hit up new things on the second time, and then looking into it for research, I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's just tons of area.
I didn't know this were cannibalism muffins. Like,
yeah. Or like the whole. I didn't know the first time I played the entire thing with the drug lord's hippo, pet hippo, which is a wild and gruesome set of kind of mission story. The other thing though I want to mention, and I don't know how much of this was in the vocabulary when we talked the first time either, and if I'm repeating it, I apologize. But I had like a little bit of like a revelation thinking about this last night. I think that Hitman, specifically with the way that it conveys information to the player and says yes to the player, has more in common with really good tabletop gaming than most adaptations of tabletop gaming do.
I can see that. Yeah.
And what I mean is like, it is a game, what they've done with these levels. I was trying to think of the individual stories of the levels, right?
Right.
And like, none of them are that interesting before you come along. Like, yes, the cannibalism muffins, like there are a couple of things that are neat, but they're certainly missing elements.
Yeah.
But what you have in this game is a dungeon master who has provided like an absolute wealth of hooks, like adventure hooks, and then says yes to all of them.
Right.
In a way that is more comprehensive than most video games that try to emulate role-playing do. Like I love Baldur's Gate 2, but in any given situation, like, there's a couple hooks here and here's the ways you can do it. Here, it's like, again, it's so deep in a way that models that kind of like good yes and behavior.
Yeah, no, that's a really good comparison. The fact that they have designed, not just these systems that interact with each other, because you can do all these kills just, and not by going through the story missions, right? Like you can, kind of just engage with the stealth and engage with the movement and the enemy behaviors to get to where you need to be and, take your shot and go. But specifically like, that, and then also the number of stories that they provide to you that reward paying attention, on one level, and, B, they're not afraid to kind of like let the player decide how much they want that surfaced or not. Like, it does feel like a very like graceful dungeon master. Yeah, I like that comparison a lot.
That I had that. I was playing it last night and just had that feeling because what I overheard a conversation that was not a mission story. Yeah. Like it was not going to lead to a set of map markers and objectives. It was just useful information, for me. And I'm like, this is really like, that's great. This is like, I asked a bartender for a rumor and he said like, they say that when people go into the basement of, Chorg's tavern, they don't come back.
Sure.
And I'm like, well, that's interesting. I now know something about Chorg, my target.
Yeah.
Target Chorg. Target Chorg. Operation Chorg. But I was just like, oh, this is like really useful. And the whole world exists for you in a way that all video games do, and a way that tabletop gaming does, but they hide that reality really, really well and just make it, here's a billion threads, just choose which one you want to unravel. There's always going to be something fucking cool at the end of it. We promise. And Jesus fucking Christ, like these games are really good. And I'm glad we're doing the second one because I liked the second one more than the first one.
Same.
And it fucking contains the first one.
Yep.
Which is the most generous thing that I've ever seen in games. And it is, how is it that like, there's not an ongoing discourse about how fucking cool and important Hitman games are.
Like this is a model of distribution that I'm only aware of. I mean, at least in modern games, I'm only aware of like Left 4 Dead 2 doing this, where just like the sequel comes along and completely not subsumes, but incorporates the meaningful content from the first game. Yeah. It's
like that's happened. Like I think about Pokemon Gold.
Yeah.
Having where you can go back to Kanto.
That's a good one, yeah.
And that's just fucking cool. Need more of that. And for something with this kind of level of production value, like a modern AAA game doing that, it just feels like, I don't know, man. Gives me the gamer willies.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, you know,
Got
like
the gamer willies.
and you know, like to a certain extent, I kind of resent it because, you know, I'm going to have to move on. I'm going to have to, you know, start Disco Elysium. I'm going to have to start, you know, any number of other things. And like, man, you know, I took the 15 hours that I had to budget with this and went through, you know, what feels like a very good first, you know, a very good one player campaign with this. But like, I don't know, it'd be really fun to fuck around with some of those special assignments.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know that I have the opportunity. Yeah.
Even your own like kind of things like this time going through, I tried to do stories I hadn't done, but I also was like, I want to snipe some people. Mm-hmm. Like I've unlocked a sniper rifle.
I've never sniped in this game. Yeah.
It allows for it so well. Like there's so many good fucking sight lines and stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, when you're in the levels and it just feels like this gigantic pile of generosity of like useless areas. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, this building is not really part of anybody's story.
Right.
You know, and if you go there, it's like, oh, wait, but the back, there's an area I can get up on top of the roof. And then this is like a perfect sniping perch.
Yeah. There's downspout I can climb up. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking good. Like I had the same feeling where I'm like, man, if I didn't have to move on, I could just do a few laps.
Yeah.
Through this and really enjoy myself. Like,
yeah.
That's been a fun feeling in WoW where I've had that like remember when we were playing feeling that just feels like real good. And I imagine Hitman 2, like not that I'm anticipating not liking anything we're doing upcoming,
right.
There'll always be this element of like, man, remember when we were doing Hitman 2?
It's just
God, remember when we were playing Legend of Grimrock 2? Fuck, man, like it's good.
Yeah. You know, so I just went back and I went to the notes for Hitman 2016 because, you know, we talked about this being, you know, a very, you know, a good facsimile of a tabletop game. You know, like in the headline at the front there, the billboard that I did, I didn't say stealth game, I said immersive sim. Whereas in 2016, I called this a stealth game because that's what it's broadly categorized as. Like, I don't know, this is one of the most 0451 kind of experiences I've had.
Yeah. It is not a stealth is a powerful,
it's a powerful
understatement.
Yes.
Yeah, of this what this game contains, the multitudes it contains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So as we mentioned, you know, we talked about a lot of this stuff, but to because maybe people who just are like, I'm not going to play any of these games. Maybe you haven't listened to the first episode. That's fine. Need the basics. You play as a character named Agent 47. You is a hitman. You have a handler named Deanna Burnwood. And you are assassinating targets in huge, detailed, intricate puzzle box levels, best in class levels.
Yeah. And this story picks up, you know, right where the prequel left off. You might be a little bit lost if you're coming into this without having played the first one, honestly, because it's a little bit like Noun Soup to a certain degree. Yeah. A lot of secret societies, a lot of boardrooms full of powerful people in suits. But 47 and Diana, they're kind of, you know, they're still working for the ICA. Like that's where their resources come from. You know, the ICA being the, you know, assassin organization that they're a part of.
Yeah, International Contract Agency.
Yeah. But you're continuing to kind of chase after this shadow client who used you in the first game. I'm gonna call 2016 the first game. Just understand.
Yeah,
you know, that the first game in the trilogy.
Like we called it a reboot. It's not even a reboot. Like it references, and this game references things that came before too. It's all one continuity, but it's like a jumping on point. It's like a new arc.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
but you're trying to, you know, take apart this conspiracy, going after the shadow client, and also learning more about this even more powerful group, this Illuminati type kind of thing called Providence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, tons of nouns. We'll talk about that stuff. There are gameplay features that are new. So one of the things is mirrors work now. If you sneak up on somebody who's looking into a mirror and they look up, they'll see you. Another one here, and I didn't find this out until doing research. I didn't notice this in game. But if you are trespassing and a security camera hits you, it will cause a security alert, not just ping your score like it used to. So cameras have additional functionality now. Yeah. Which is probably good. You know,
I think so.
Because I generally just ignored them.
Same.
Previous, since I don't play for score.
Right. Yeah. Just it didn't really matter too much for me. But like even still, like if you get pinged when you're not trespassing, it'll still mark your presence there and I think affect your score. Yeah.
It'll always affect the score, but now it can actually raise an alert.
Yes. They added picture-in-picture to this, which I could have sworn was in 2016, but actually wasn't. So, like, when somebody finds a body, when you're seen by a camera, it will show you kind of the relevant information from wherever that was. So, good.
You can also hack it and play Legend of Grimrock 2 in the picture-in-picture.
Oh,
so you just have the ultimate 2020 WoW experience.
Right.
Like they're just play them both with the same controller.
Yeah, play them shits. Yeah.
Yeah. Incredibly difficult. Like,
Yeah.
A big addition from, I think, Blood Money is they brought back your briefcase into the game, which fans of the series really love. The briefcase is in the original game it appeared in was mostly used to get past metal detectors. There were a lot more metal detectors. The new games generally have made pat downs, the more common way to get past things, but this allows you to take large items or illegal items into secure areas. So you can't carry a sniper rifle up to that perch, but you can carry a briefcase.
Yes. You can also use the briefcase as like a distraction, or you can throw it and hit people with it. It ends up being a very versatile item in and of itself, like most of the items, in fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Other things, they included hiding in brush.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can now hide in the tall grass like a Pokemon, like a Hitman Chan.
Hey, how long were you sitting on that one, buddy?
Only like a second.
Okay.
Like I came up with it last minute. I'm kind of proud of myself.
Yeah, no,
like,
it's very good. Sorry, I'm sorry I doubted you.
No, yeah. It was just I'm being honest, because if I had that kind of shit in the pocket, you know how bad I am at holding that kind of stuff back. Like I would have started the episode with it. Yeah. Before we get to that, I gotta put a portmanteau I've been working on.
Okay.
I would have gotten to it that way, but
yeah.
But yeah, you can hide, and that's used really well in the levels. And then hiding in crowds, is the other new thing. Yeah. So you used to be able to, be in crowds and it would block sight lines, but it wouldn't actually mark you as concealed.
Yeah.
Now that is actually a big part. And they are a couple highlight maps that are just make that a huge, huge part
so many huge crowds. Oh my God, man.
Yeah.
Mumbai.
Yeah. It's wild to see.
Yeah.
Like just in terms of a populated video game space.
Yeah. And this is the perennial example, like new hardware, and computing power matters for shit like this. I don't care how realistic your textures are, but if you can put a shitload of things on the screen and make that relevant to the play, then there we go.
Yeah, and make it work. And it's such a thing where a lot of times it's not relevant.
Right.
This is maybe the best example.
Yeah.
Of that relevancy. Like I know that it's a thing in Assassin's Creed, that hiding in a crowd comes from that.
Yeah.
But here, this matters.
Yes.
In a real way. It is not just a tech show off thing.
So, and I think the biggest change between 2016 and this is just that the quality of levels is much higher and more consistently higher. There's no Colorado in this.
No,
right?
Yeah, there's no Colorado. I love the crowds in Mumbai.
Yeah.
And stuff. Mumbai is probably my least favorite level because on repeat play, the finding the what's his head?
Yeah,
dragon,
finding
the maelstrom.
Yes, yeah.
Finding the maelstrom is kind of a pain in retrospect. But if that's the word, the same way Colorado was a B-, Hitman level, that is a B+ Hitman level and is the worst level in the game to me.
Right.
And it's still really good. It's just the other ones all vacillate between A and A+.
Yeah. The levels just feel bigger and more intricate, more crowded, more dense with incident than they did, kind of in the past, and it just each of these landed, really, really hard for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're great. They're all extremely cool. There is kind of a general, I think also upgrading of, the way the story is presented in terms of your targets.
Yeah.
Your targets were shitheads in the first game who you might have reason to murder. I think they really amped that up.
Yeah.
In this game to where you could, you get to watch the sweatshop owner's cruelty before you are like, I can't countenance this person to live.
Yeah.
You know, like this, like an arrogant drug lord, you could literally walk through a museum he's built to himself.
Right.
And you can be, and be like, okay, this guy fucking sucks.
I never felt like such a righteous actor in a video game or piece of fiction, more so than when I was going through the final mission of the main game of this on that island with all those billionaires.
Oh,
doing
yeah.
like post-human stuff.
Yeah. Both those ladies suck so bad.
They're so bad.
They gotta go. That if you have that gene, whatever you'd call that gamer gene of like this guy's gotta go. Murder gene in video games, like this game is great for it and better than the first one. I think, which is like the reason why I bring it up is because it intersects with the like why couldn't this game be about giving people cake? Discourse is like I think that if you think of it as a scale. It's more stuff on the scale of like, no, these had to be murders. Yeah. In addition to all the ludic reasons why, it's also like, yeah, but you don't want these people to keep going.
I would not hurt a person in real life. However, in a piece of fiction like this, it's fun to engage with.
It's video games. Can't all be Tender Frog House.
Right.
So we're going to cover the 6 main story missions and then the 2 DLC levels, which complete the story of this, arc, I guess, of the middle act of these. And we're primarily going to be talking about the main mode.
Yes.
We're going to briefly talk now about those different modes. I have not engaged with them a lot, and that has nothing to do with the fact that they don't seem fun. It has more to do with the fact that there's just, again, this game has given you 6 oceans, and then I bought a pass that gave me 2 extra bonus oceans. So I have oceans to get through.
Yeah, lots of ocean here. And a lot of these modes are returning from the previous game. So you have your elusive targets, you have your special assignments, you have the contracts, so the kind of user-defined and curated ones. All of that is still available for you there. The Patient Zero campaign is here as well.
Yeah. Yep. The little bonus campaign that recontextualized levels from the first game. In a cool way. We also get, and same thing with sniper mode as well.
Right.
There are 3 sniper specific levels that play a little bit like the iOS Hitman game. There's so a single player version of that. There's a co-op version of that where you're a co-op sniper and you're just 2 other assassins.
Yeah.
I was looking at the thing, just like, who are these guys?
Yeah. Agent 46 and 48.
Yeah. And then there's a mode called Ghost, which is an assassination race where you are both set in the same level, but your level is incidenced. So things you do don't affect, and you are given targets, given the same target, and see who can kill them the fastest. And it only counts if your body is not found for a certain amount of time.
Yes.
Which feels like a little bit of a like one of the escalation modifiers you can get is a time limit and things like that. It feels like an organic way of getting that and competitive.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested in competitive play, period. Right. But I bet you it's fun to watch. And again, this is not only going to give me an ocean to drink in terms of game, but also like if I ever decide to like turn to YouTube. I started watching a guy, and I don't know enough about him. Like he could be a shithead. I watched a couple videos.
Usual
so
caveat.
I don't recommend him. I don't want to even, I can't remember his name right at this moment, but I don't want to mention it because in case he's horrible. But he does things where he goes through and he kills everybody you can kill on a map.
Oh, I saw this. This was mentioned on TV Tropes. Yeah, like complete kill. Like it became such a thing in the first one in 2016 that they like built in perks and stuff about it and like gave illusions to this YouTuber.
It's pretty wild. Yeah. Like it's really a thing to see because it's a lot of people in the in these levels, so it's like even just in terms of play, like just YouTube, there's tons of weird like concepts and challenges and shit like that, and that's just in the main mode, let alone all these modes. Like I'm sure that the ghost mode would be fun to fucking watch on like AGQ or something,
right?
Or any kind of race.
Yes, yeah. As we mentioned several times, incredibly generously, you can get all of the levels from the first game, from 2016 in here. What's important is that the engine improvements that they made, so hiding in brush, hiding in crowds, etc., the mirrors, all of that is backported into those, which can change particular missions, like Colorado all of a sudden gets a little bit more smooth because you can hide in the grass when you're making your initial approach. Into a level where everybody is hostile, stuff like that. So, meaningful. It would be meaningful to revisit those levels in this new engine. And if they do that with 3, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I might have to retire.
Yeah.
To become
take a sabbatical. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna need 3 months on an island, to play this. Like so the way that those things affect it, not only affects those new mechanical improvements, but unlocks carry across.
Yeah.
So like if you go through and you start the whole story from the beginning, you will have a fundamentally different experience if you're engaging with the preparation system. So like getting things that are rare to get in the second campaign, but easier to get in the first campaign. Special items, you can then use them. And again, there's no way we can be entirely comprehensive about them because there are dozens of them. And, I don't know. They fall into some broad categories we can chat about, but at the same time, like, I don't know. It's just generous. Like, there's just a lot there.
Before we move on and talk a little bit about the development of this game, because those details are kind of slight, I want to say something that is really important to me about Hitman as a series, which is it can be easy to lose sight of the fact that this is incredibly funny.
Yeah. Well, this game, I think also a big difference between this one and the first one is this leans into the humor a lot more.
Yes.
There is more kind of goofitude. Like a lot of the missions I think almost all of the missions in the suburbs level are laugh out loud funny.
Yeah.
The things you do in them.
Yeah.
And it still has that kind of like dark double entendre based kind of humor part, but there's more explicit jokes in this one, and I am way into that.
Yeah.
In addition to just being funny in terms of like goofy situations and slapstick, and knocking people out by throwing muffins at them and shit.
Yeah. So I want to highlight that in case anybody who is listening to this has a version of the events in their head where this is like Manhunt or something like that.
Sure.
No, it's not. No. It's not hatred. You are killing people, but it's fun. It's a joke.
The tone is pretty pitch perfect to me.
Yeah.
And if and that can be, people's mileage will vary whether they can separate tone from action.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. But for me, that's an easy ask.
Yeah. So, another general thing, this game is fucking beautiful.
Yeah. It looks good. And a lot of it, it's not the individual people, even though the individual people look good. A lot of it is choices being made in terms of that level design.
Yeah.
It's composed shots, like areas you can get to that feel real. That are just beautiful, and then like the sun will hit them, or the fucking the storm.
God, I was gonna say exactly that in the Maldives. Yeah, good God, like it just made my jaw drop.
Like what like the game contains so many multitudes where like not only do I want to do all the fun shit in this this level, but also like if I was really here, like sitting out on the deck and watching that storm on the ocean,
it'd be the best,
fuck, dude.
Yeah,
it's like literally like I could spend a whole day doing that basically.
Yeah. Oh man, it feels good to be positive about something.
Oh man, like it's this is special shit. These are special.
Yeah. So I couldn't find an awful lot of development detail about the game. Just it seemed to go pretty smoothly, with the exception of the fact that Square, for some reason, dropped IO as a developer.
Yeah.
And like that put the entire series in question. Like it, if IO didn't hook up with Warner Brothers, who knows if this would have actually had the backing and distribution to come out.
Yeah. And the development, like there is some stuff out there mostly about the first one. There's like a no clip documentary. This one, we just know that, this shit happened with Square.
Right.
And where they cut cost is generally in terms of like cutscenes.
Yeah.
So this is a surprisingly story heavy game, and they do them as kind of motion comics.
Yeah.
Like, and in, not in engine, but not, they're not 2D images.
Yeah.
They're like 3D images that they move around, motion comics. And these are fine. Like this didn't bother me at all.
No. I would have been upset if the mission briefings had changed. Like the mission briefings are some of the best motion graphics I've seen. Yeah. Just those are fantastic. And I'm like happy that they saw the limitation in their resources and said, hey, instead of spending that money like animating, lip flaps and, facial expressions, why don't we put that into the levels?
Yeah.
You know, because I'm going to watch the cutscenes once or twice. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to cut something, that's the thing to cut.
Yes.
You know, so, yeah, agreed on that. And they do the job so well.
Yeah.
You know, somebody who I'm not like heavily invested in the Hitman story, but I'm interested. Like I like it. I like the way it's told.
The voice acting does a good amount of work in it as well.
So much work because almost everybody is great.
Yes. Diana, especially.
Yeah. Diana's awesome. The Constant is such a slimy little worm. You know, I love him. And then obviously 47, which, you know, one of the better video game characters of all time.
Yes.
So this was released all at once instead of being released episodically. That was one of the big changes that came from this, because that was a big mark of criticism.
Yeah.
In the first game, people had a real problem with it, even though I honestly think that's not a big deal. This one was released all at once.
Yeah, and IO confirmed that. Yeah, Square made them do that. Square forced them into the monthly or episodic distribution, and they would have rather put it out all at once. So,
yeah. It's weird. It's a weird thing because one of the things about this, I haven't played any of them as episodes, but I did play the DLCs as they came out for the second one. I was current with those, so it does change how you approach the game.
Yeah.
And budgeting out Hitman, like I almost think that just having access to one of these levels for a month is actually probably the way to do it. And I think it contributed to Hitman, those DLCs, since I had a lot of time, they were the only Hitman 2 content I had for a while. I went pretty deep into those and slightly deeper than I did the main levels.
Yeah. Because you had to
get them all at once.
Yeah. You wanted to move on and see what the next ocean would be.
Yeah. I get to that other ocean. So, so we're going to get into it, generally talking about the story, talking about these levels and most of the mission stories that are in them, and some other notes. We're not going to be all inclusive because it's almost impossible to be
right.
with this. It would require a bonfire side chat format for that. But yeah, we're going to get into it now.
Yeah.
But if you feel like we're missing generality stuff, go back and listen to the episode that we did on the 2016 one.
That is it's May 2019's premium episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
About a year ago.
So let's jump into it. We've got the opening cinematic that gets us kind of caught up, talking about the Shadow Client and how all of the targets that we were sent after had something to do with this organization called Providence. I think like an Illuminati stand-in kind of thing.
Yep. The leader of Providence contacted Diana to hire her and 47 to take out the Shadow Client in exchange for information about 47's past, 47 being an amnesiac.
Right.
Neither know, however, that the Shadow Client is a childhood friend of 47 who remembers everything.
That was like a big reveal at the end of the first game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we start off with a tutorial level that is a little less gentle than the tutorial of the first one.
Yeah.
I feel like they assume that you played the first one for this, and I think that's part of why it's so good that they just include the first one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like this is a fine tutorial, but it is not nearly as hand-holdy and basic as the tutorials in the first game.
Even if you don't have the legacy pack, they do include the tutorial that you're doing, the boat one, on the fake yacht, and then the fake airplane hangar. They do have that here as well. So this is like a step up as opposed to dropping you into Paris after that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Like a part 3 of a tutorial.
Yeah.
Almost.
I want to show you some of the new features like this area. So you're in a place called Hawke's Bay. It's, on the coast of New Zealand, and you have one insertion point. You have this, you land on a beach, and you're going up, hiding yourself in this brush as you're going along, and the mansion that you're going to has all these mirrors and things. It's demoing some of the new mechanical stuff that they're adding here.
Yeah. It's also incredibly atmospheric and spooky. There's actually nobody on the map at first, which you don't know that, but so you're still hiding. But it's scary. It's like a beach at night which is a scary space. And you break and enter into, like, it's something that you break into things all the time in Hitman, but very rarely when, like, a place this big when nobody's home.
Yeah.
Like, looking for information, like, this felt like a unique Hitman thing to do. This gave me Thief Sim feels.
Yeah. Well, especially like, the entrance that I took, where I opened the garage door,
Sure.
like just opened up on some dead bodies. It was like a botched kidnapping.
Yeah. Which again, just really spooky, spooky stuff. You get inside, you can find this voicemail from the handyman looking to schedule a visit to fix the ventilation in the bathroom. This is an unmarked way of doing this assassination.
Yeah.
The person we're assassinating is Alma Reynard here. And we're going to do this to get the information to actually locate the shadow client. And there are no mission stories in this. This also kind of gives you a tutorial on keeping your ears open and figuring out ways to improvise.
Yes.
Tune you into those adventure hooks the DM is going to give you.
Yeah. So like you get upstairs and you get into the computer, like it's encrypted. So you have to find this little USB password dongle, which of course is kept in a like spy armory, like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like gun closet, that's hidden behind a painting.
Full of shurikens.
There. Yeah. God. I love that they're just shurikens on the wall.
Well, it's the douchey boyfriend.
Oh yeah, of course.
Included the top knot boyfriend included the shurikens. I love how Hitman continues to have a discuss with top knots that I do. Like the culture has moved on and been like, okay, top knots are good now. Yeah. And me and Hitman are like,
Are you a samurai, sir? Are you a samurai?
Yeah.
Cut it out.
You don't look cool. Yeah. So, and you have the whole time here to prepare the area.
Yeah.
So you can find and plant poison and things. You can, do anything you want to do. Once you access the computer, we learn the shadow client is connected to somebody at Kronstadt Technologies. These are the people who made the auto surgeon from Hokkaido in the last game. And we get a little cutscene of people coming back. Alma Reynard, her cadre of bodyguards, and her douchebag boyfriend all come back. And now we're in a Hitman level, but we're kind of pre-inserted.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. Like, again, this, as acting not super great as a tutorial, but allowing you to do some unique Hitman shit. What is it? This is like, you've already got tons of experience points and you've started in the level, in the middle of the level.
Yeah. I love how they slowly file in, kind of giving you, they slowly file in and each of them kind of has their own conversation. Like, the housekeeping staff comes in and gives their own little details. It is like a good listening tutorial. How did you take out Alma, and did you take out the boyfriend?
I've done this a couple times now. So there's a thing where she wants tea, and it's randomized whether she wants sugar or honey.
Okay.
Because I had played the first game in this engine, I had unlocked being able to take poison with me.
Oh, okay.
So I put lethal poison in one, and then like diarrhea poison, puke poison, emetic poison, in the other. So she either would die or go to the bathroom. And then, so she went to the bathroom, killed her there. And then the second time I did it, I just waited for them to go to bed.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see if I could do it. And you can. They go to bed. At some point, she wakes up. I didn't know this. I read about this. I didn't wait this long. When they go to bed, I just shot them both. The boyfriend's a douche. She's got to go. But if you wait long enough, there's like story and stuff that gets revealed. She will wake up and call her sister in the middle of the night and express like guilt.
Yeah, talking about their kid or something.
Yeah. Which is real wild. Like I didn't get to that, but you can just hide in the closet.
Yeah.
And be patient, which is what I did the second time.
Yeah. I got up on the roof actually. So I attempted to follow the line about the ventilation. And I didn't do the second step. So like when you go to the AC unit, you can dump your, like I dumped in like rat poison or something. So I thought it would be funny, like just if everybody suddenly had to vomit.
Everybody gets a case of the pukes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cause enough of a distraction.
Stand
by me. Yeah, exactly. Oh, blueberry pie. But you have to go to the thermostat and turn it on in order to make that happen. So I didn't realize that until the New York level, that there was a second part to that. So like being on the roof, I went over the sky, to the skylight over their bed when they went to bed, and I put one bullet through her, and then just got down to ground level as easily as I could. Like it was, and like, you know, because it was silenced and because, you know, I waited for a lull in the patrol pattern of the guards on the roof, like it took a little while for them to figure it out. I was most of the way down the beach before an alert went up. Yeah.
I think an alert always goes up in this because they want to tutorialize distractions as well.
Yes.
So when you leave, you know, hostiles are, they found your boat there. So you need to cause a distraction. And there is a very conveniently placed truck with a bunch of gas cans in the back, which you can shoot and blow up.
Yeah.
To create the distraction.
And this is leaning on hiding in brush because, you know, if you just go as the crow flies or as the human walks, and not as the Hitman, not as the Hitmonchan does, Hitman Chan. There we go. You're going to be seen, but if you solid snake, you know, through the brush, you're going to be good. Yeah. And so, you escape on your fan boat.
Yep. Just one way out. There's only one disguise, I think, this level as well. So it is like ramping you in this slowly. Yes. You can become a guard.
Yes.
So we get a little cutscene. These cutscenes have little titles. So this is called Blank Check. 47 is sitting in a hotel room looking at a photograph of his younger self, kind of recalling his fragmented memories. I love Angry Baby 47, and I hope in the next one we get a flashback to him doing missions as kid. Yeah. 47, pretty badly.
I love that he was bald then. He was like a little Charlie Brown.
Yeah, like angry Charlie Brown, which I love.
Good grief.
Yeah, good grief. I'll hold this football here for you. You can trust me.
Just disguising himself as Lucy, standing at the psychologist stand.
I love the idea of assassinating Charlie Brown, partly because I don't like that little shit.
His head is so big; it's such an easy target.
Yeah. Oh man, he's like a sniper tutorial. Yeah. He's the training wheel for snipers.
Stop making fun of Pigpen. He's poor. He can't afford to pay.
Well, that's why I've canceled Charlie Brown.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I want him to get sniped.
Yeah, cancel culture run amok.
Woke sniper tweet. Woke sniper has a lot of legs. I know we're not recording Abject Suffering, so we should keep going. But let's keep woke sniper in the pocket because I think woke sniper is pretty funny.
It is, yeah. So Diana calls as you are thinking back to your Charlie Brown days, CB days, and says, "Hey, the organization has given us this blank check to take out the Shadow Client's militia. Like Alma Renard and all of her goons were a part of this." You know, wide, basically terrorist network that our buddy runs, that we are just pretty quick to forgive him for, actually.
Yeah. We team up pretty fast. Yes. You know, and it's like ICA won't like that. You know, you're breaking the rules here, and you know, because it's taking this job for personal gain, but she's willing to do it because she knows what it's like to lose everything.
Yes.
You know, and she wants to give 47 his memories back.
Yeah.
So we start out with, I think what will end up being, it's not my favorite level in this thing, but I think we'll end up like, this is what Hitman does. It puts it in the Sapienza slot. You know, the finish line in Miami, which is just like a breathtaking work of level design.
It hits you over the head as hard as it can. I like, they very wisely featured this in all of the previews. You know, to kind of sell the increased scope and intricacy of this, and also like the kind of like diversity of the environments as well. Like, there's so many like little like mini dungeons within this.
Yeah, there's a hotel I didn't know. I've never been in.
Yeah,
I didn't know existed. I just read about it before we started recording.
Yeah, it's just across the Skyway.
I can go to the town section of this. Fuck, man. I've never seen it. Right. So what's happening is there's something called the annual Global Innovation Race, which everybody's got their pitch crews there. And the target, there's two targets, a man named Robert Knox, who is this high-ranking engineer at Kronstadt, kind of the leader of that, and his daughter, Sierra Knox, who is a financial wizard and also one of these F1 racing drivers.
Yes.
Kronstadt makes military technology on the sly, which have been used in war crimes. You know, he's a shithead. Again, all these people are bad.
Yes.
Yeah. And the militia and Kronstadt are working together.
Yeah. just kind of working together, even though they don't like each other. It's, for mutual protection, right? So we need to kill Robert and kill Sierra. Sierra is going to be tricky because she is racing at the time that you get here, or like she will start racing pretty quickly. And a little bit more background here is like one of the angles that you can take is that like there is a inter-firm rivalry between Kronstadt and a similar Chinese firm called Kowloon. So you can work that to your angle, and like when you start this level for the first time, you're just like dropped off right outside the gates of this extremely crowded event space.
Yeah. There's something. What is the other thing too? Robert Knox and Sierra have left the organization.
Oh, okay.
Too. Yeah, we find that out as well, I think, here.
Okay.
So they've left the organization, and it's like, they don't think there's conjecture as to why they did it. I think that's part of the cutscene at the beginning of this as well.
Gotcha.
So we go into this, just taking a second, and this isn't part of one of the stories, but I can't help but camp out on these things. What a novel location.
Yeah.
Like a lot of games take place at racetracks, but very few of them take place. Yeah, they're called racing games, and you don't get out of a car. Right. Like very few of them take place in like the stands and stuff. And this was interesting, even just from like, apparently this has a pretty close analog with a real racetrack in Florida, and like I've never been to this kind of thing, and it was kind of fun even just on that level to be like, oh, this is what this environment is like. There's like an Oculus tourism element to this, of like just checking out, being in the audience of one of these like sports that I under no circumstances understand. Like
I've never.
It's a race, but it's also how far you can go in a certain time. And there are rules. It's until like the person gets disqualified the most times, or something. I don't really understand racing.
Neither do I. No, there's a raceway here in Mansfield. One of the reasons that the town has the nickname the Speed City. It's kind of one of the main things about the town. Cool. We're Speed City. No, but it was not as extravagant as this, but it was similar. I never attended a race there, but I often worked concessions with like family members and things like that. So like being backstage at this felt pretty familiar, actually.
As a concessions worker, if this were Hitman, someone would have killed you and dressed up as you.
Oh yeah, sprinkled rat poison on it. Destroy the good name of the stand.
You're like Florida man. You're like Florida man with coconut balls.
Yeah. So it is a novel. It's a very novel idea for a setting, and a great way to, if you're going to make this a game that is kind of about crowds to a certain degree, a big outdoor event like this is a way to go.
Yep, absolutely. So kind of going through the stories here. So at one point there's a story called A Perfect Machine. You overhear a Kronstadt pit crew employee quitting really loudly over the phone.
Yeah.
So we know that the pit crew is down a mechanic, which allows you to slip in.
Yes. But, just like in the first game, just because you are disguised as, one type of employee in these spaces, like there are people who are like foremen who know their entire crew, that, they'll be suspicious of you. So like, to get in here and actually tamper with a car, you need a, you need a pneumatic wrench kind of thing. Yeah. And the foreman is guarding that. So like you have to throw a coin to like get him to walk to the other side of a room to get in there. I felt really bad for the way that I killed the mechanic. Nobody ought to be drowned in a porta potty.
Nobody should have to use a porta potty.
Right.
Like drowned. They shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Like I should never have seen one. And that's how you get into this pit area.
Right.
And once you get there, you get to hang out there. The pit boss here is a real hard ass and yells at you like, everyone take your positions. And then you go and you can loosen her tire, and she peels out, and then immediately and this ends up making sense. They talk about how because the company's so nervous about winning this race that they've taken out the roll cage from her car to get additional speed.
Which
So
like I was reading about this, maybe this is on TV Trips or something like that. That actually doesn't make any sense because Le Mans cars, which this is modeled after, they don't have roll cages. The entire thing is supposed to be driver protection, but fiction.
Not this one.
Not the point, Cole.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Yeah,
but it's hilarious how she immediately just boom.
Cross over. And it's one of the things that happens in this game where like nobody like calls her dad.
Yeah.
You have all the time in the world now to kill her dad.
Yep.
Everyone just kind of is like, what happened? And
in the fiction,
just, like,
they had a falling out. They had a falling out. It's fine.
Oh, I guess that's true. He does come and watch her race though.
Oh.
Because one of the ways you can kill them is to push him onto the track onto her car.
Oh God.
And kill them both.
Oh.
You cause her to crash by crashing into her dad falling through the sky. Which is like amazing.
I feel like that's symbolic, but I don't know exactly how.
Of what? Yeah, it's a Greek myth of some kind. So I have done all of these.
Okay.
In my replays. So another one, if you're going through the parking garage, there's a guy dressed up as the flamingo mascot who is blackmailing her. So if you steal his outfit, you can then get a private meeting with her where you kick her into like, I don't know what it is. It's like an open sewer.
Something.
Basically.
I've got no idea. I ran into this guy. It's real hard not to notice him because he's having a loud conversation with somebody, and he asks you to like go get his car keys that he dropped. And I was like, no, I'm pretty committed to being a pit crew guy right now. Yeah. So that's fine. But I went and got his keys and then just walked away with them. He's like, hey man, why are you taking my keys?
It's a pretty fun mission, and when you get to when you're in the flamingo costume, the blend in action when you go out to the crowd is to like do these little dance, like do the Roger Rabbit and stuff, and do all these little dances, and you can still see 47's face, and it's just like still dead eyes as he's like doing the Roger Rabbit as the mascot is extremely funny.
One of the best things about the humor of this is that whatever 47 sets out to do as a distraction is like he is extremely competent at it. Yeah.
It's like the drum machine thing where he plays the drums before, and he's just like, you're like a machine. Just like absolutely like, precise. There's a second one or third one rather, where you pose as a doctor. Like after she gets done with the race, she does a revitalization treatment.
Yeah.
Like
she has like a blood boy.
Like, so you you had to pose as the doctor and give her poison. Instead. This is real cute. You say like she's like, what's in this anyway? And you're just like, oh, standard botanicals, hemlock, nightshade. And she's like, aren't those things poisonous? And it's like, they can be. or something like that. It's really good. But that one is interesting because you have to end the race. Because otherwise the race won't end. So, I mean, I think it might eventually, but you can make this go faster by taking the disguise of a race official and making her lose. Because if she wins, she doesn't go do this stuff. She goes and parties.
Okay.
And you can kill her there. Like she's in the after party, and you can actually do a drinking contest with her, which isn't a story contest, but you just poison the last drink. There's like 6 drinks laid out, and you just drink with her. But you want her to lose for this one. So she goes and kind of shakes it off, and then you can inject her.
Yeah, and the one where she wins, like she goes to the winners podium for like the for the victory ceremony, and you can either poison what she drinks out of the champion cup, or I read she will spill champagne, and you can actually like use like either a power line that's nearby or even like a car battery to electrocute her using the the puddle of champagne.
Kill.
Yep.
You can also there's pyrotechnics on the stage which you can overcharge.
Gotcha.
Like you could talk to somebody and they say like, oh, the settings are incredibly precise, and you have to go mess with those. That's really fiddly. So I said I did all these. I didn't actually succeed in that one because I thought I had loosened the gas, and I didn't go and change the pressure or something. I had to fiddle with another knob. Something
that is kind of like universally true across all of these, and ended up being kind of a point of frustration, is how important and how rare wrenches and screwdrivers are.
Yeah, I generally start each map with a tool sweep.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You know, like just kind of like go through. You know, if I'm going to go into every area that will have wrenches, screwdrivers, crowbars.
Yeah.
You know, emetic poison, like get all the tools.
Yeah, that's eventually what I ended up doing. Lots of supply closets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then her father has pretty fun kills. It's not quite, you're not in the race zone. Mm-hmm. You know, you're instead inside this kind of like tech.
It's like an exhibition space. It's a tech ziggurat, yeah.
Like, which is fun, but there's a little bit less to it.
Yeah, it's it is not as densely packed. So what I did for this, I followed the lead for the new army. I just kind of got this one by disguising myself as an engineer and walking around, and I saw these android arms laying around just as like errant melee weapons that you could grab. I figured, okay, so there are robots about. Turns out that Kronstadt is making kill droids, is basically making hitmen.
Yeah, you're making kill T-100, T-1000s.
Yeah, right.
Whatever.
And so like you go in there and you hear the scientists talking about how there's a Department of Defense guy who's coming for a demonstration. Like, hey, are we actually gonna use this? So like you have to go and take out that military brass. Which I fed him into a wood chipper. I didn't turn it on, but it was I figured that was a little bit of a
They want you to do that. The wood chipper is the closest thing to that.
I put him in there and I was like, do I want to? It's like, nah.
Yeah, do I want to gremlins this guy?
Not today.
Yeah, somebody will turn it on. Don't worry.
Yeah. It's a threatening gesture at the very least.
That guy deserved what he got because I'm sick of his privilege. Yeah. The woke wood chipper took him out with the warnings. We're referring to woke gator. I'm not making fun of woke culture in general. If you're not familiar with this, Google woke gator tweet and prepare to melt.
Yeah.
So you take his uniform, you go inside and start the demonstration, and you see that part of the demonstration is that they use facial recognition technology. So you have to get a picture of Robert Knox.
Fortunately, he's a narcissist.
Yep. And he's been on magazines and stuff. What's really fascinating is you can do this with lots of different pictures. So the game put a lot of pictures in the level as kind of red herrings, Easter eggs. So if you take a picture of somebody else and then drag them to this area, they will also get shot. And there's an Easter egg if you take a picture of the mascot you can find and do this. And it turns all of the non-crowd NPCs into the mascot.
That's very funny.
So all the security, all the racers, everybody's a mascot.
That's incredibly goofy.
Which is real cute.
Yeah.
I love Robert Knox's line when he gets shot. He's like, "Oh shit!" As the thing is looking at him, like it's really good.
Yeah, and it's marked as an accident kill. It's like, "Oh, your tech malfunction, buddy.
Yep.
You shouldn't have been so hubristic, standing right by something that's going to be shot. Come on."
I've done one of the other ones. So he's inventing a new engine where you can add this like super additive to it and then sabotage it. And then he has you as a tech, while he goes and checks the engine, he's like, rev the engine. Yeah. And then you could add the additive and rev the engine and blast him into the wall.
He invented a rocket car and he stood in front of the jets and told you to rev the engine. Like, hey, dude.
Yep. Yeah, not doesn't seem so smart to me.
Yeah.
The third one I couldn't manage to get. I tried to do this one, but there's a food cart. He only leaves the compound to go to his favorite food truck. It's called Florida Man's Coconut Balls, and I couldn't find Florida Man to take his disguise. So
yeah. So.
And also a hotel is there, but I didn't even know it existed until this morning. So
yeah, I think the hotel is like they probably just like designed that and said, I don't know, contracts will use that maybe.
I think that I think one of the two Knoxes goes there eventually.
Gotcha.
I think it's kind of like where I think it might be where Sierra ends up after partying.
Gotcha.
If she wins.
Yeah.
But it's just there to make it like not unlosable, I guess.
Yeah. At the very least, you can gross point blanker
or make it unwinnable.
Yeah.
So then we get a cinematic here now that we've killed those two called Dead Ends.
Right. The ICA is this the ICA? Who has the inverted pyramid hanging suspended between mountain peaks?
So this is Providence. These are people who are involved with the Constant.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the last of the useful information I'll have because I also find this plot kind of confusing and mostly just like evocative voice acting and cool concepts, and then the actual specifics of it kind of lose me a little bit.
Right. But they're here, and well, they're not there. Like, they have built this improbable HQ to house this conference room that they all hologram into. And they're talking about the death of Knox. They're like really upset that's, that it seems that somebody's, coming after them, or has Providence's number. And they have details finally about the shadow client. They know his name is Lucas Gray. I haven't marked down here that Diana is here, but it is probably another British lady.
Oh yeah, that's not Diana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of old lady. And we're talking to the Constant here at this point.
Yeah.
We're going to find out more about this person when we go to these other meetings here. But I think this is our first exposure in this game to the Constant. So we cut to Lucas. He's in the jungle talking to somebody named Olivia, his handler. And she thinks 47 is too far gone. He's one of the enemy. And Gray's like, no, he'll see the light if we can make him remember who he is.
And this takes us into Columbia for Three-Headed Serpent.
Yes. So we have to figure out how Gray's militia operates. And we find out that they generally use this distribution network of the Delgado cartel, fucking Rio Genesis. The Delgados, man.
Yeah.
The Delgado cartel is from Hitman history.
Yep.
There are other missions having to do with this. And we have 3 targets to take out. Rigo Delgado, who is the main Delgado, his propagandist, Andrea Martinez, and his chemist, Jorge Franco.
Yes. And this level is, a little bit of a swerve. It is kind of like Sapienza a little bit, because you have this village that is around the compound that Delgado has set up. And then the compound itself, in addition to the labs that are in the mine tunnels beneath it.
And a jungle.
Yes.
That shows up a little bit for the drug side of this. And then also shows up in special missions.
Yeah.
You can do. It's kind of like 3 levels. Like this feels like 3 little zones kind of connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's talk about Rico.
Let's do it. This one I found, so I did the mission Heart of Stone, and when you land, you're dropped off at a bus stop. Everybody is talking about this upcoming statue unveiling. A statue of Rico is going to be, there's going to be a big ceremony. They're going to uncover it. Because Rico sees himself as, not the cartel leader who is violently suppressing this village, but as, the liberator who is uplifting them.
Yeah. The saint.
Yes.
Of Santa Fortuna. So the ceremony, we go check out the statue, and the base looks insecure, and people are like, that looks pretty insecure. You can go loosen that up.
Right.
And then the ceremony has to start, but it won't start until all the band members are found to play, and they're passed out.
Yeah, they party too hard.
Yeah, so you flip coins near them or whatever, except for the drummer who is dead.
Right.
So you have to dress up as him and be the drummer. It's like a little bongo, so you just kind of show up and just bongo it up,
Yep.
Blank-faced.
I like that he plays well enough that none of his bandmates notice.
They don't even know that he's not the same dude.
Hey, you don't know the song at all, man. I'm like, no,
he knows the song.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So Andrea, being the face of the operation, she gets up and she gives this speech. Talk about the statue as a gift. The cartel protects you from the corruption of the big city. And then, Delgado, being the egomaniac he is, he needed to unveil his own statue. He says, drum roll, please. I didn't realize this was a cue. I didn't see the button press. So he just got angry at me. There was no drum roll. But you press the drum.
A bongo roll.
Yeah. 47 does a really good bongo roll. And as he pulls off the curtain, Delgado is crushed beneath the statue that just falls apart when it lands on him.
Yeah. Yep. Like all statues of monsters.
Yeah.
Made of cheap materials.
Yes.
So this one, I did the second time. I did this. The first time I did this was Deadly Art, which there's a famous tattoo artist who has a reality show who's in town. You have to go disguise yourself as that guy, which involves interfacing with the city, the village section, of it. He's at the bar, and you take over the bartender to kind of give him advice and make him stop, get over his nerves.
Yeah.
To encourage him to go, and then you can take him out, and then you just get to go up into the tattoo area and jam a tattoo gun into his neck, which I like that area. I like the compound a lot. Mm-hmm. It has the museum to him, and then his pet hippo, which is not a story mission, but he has this horrible hippo who won't eat vegetables, who only eat meat.
Yeah. Well, he only eats meat because like a handler fell in there.
Yeah. Because he gets fed. Delgado feeds him.
Yeah.
Feeds things to the
oh
hippo.
yeah.
So he thinks he's sick. So he calls in a character called the Hippo Whisperer, and you can take the disguise of the Hippo Whisperer and throw Delgado into his own hippo pit, which is incredibly gruesome because hippos are scary as hell.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason why they made them into ogres in Dark Souls 2. Like, they're basically water ogres.
Yeah, that spray shit at people by fanning their tails around in a circle like a helicopter.
Monsters.
Yeah, monsters.
Absolute monsters. So both of those are pretty fun. And then I didn't do Submerged, which is he's got a special yellow submarine that he's created to carry drugs, and you get to be an engineer and suck them into the engines of that.
Yeah, that involves getting down into the compounds below the villa. I didn't. I only got down there as part of the mission to take out Jorge Franco.
Yeah.
But yeah, that museum is a trip because there's there's buttons you can press that'll bring up like voice acting, or like little like this is from when I et cetera et cetera.
He narrates his own museum.
Yeah. What a dick. Also not great is Andrea Martinez.
Nope. She's bad. The
mission that I did for her was Undying Love. She's not up in the compound. She kind of has her own little house and office down in the village proper by the river.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't done this one at all. This mission that you did, I did the shaman.
It's interesting. So what happens is she and Rico's brother Hector used to be an item, and he is constantly trying to contact her. And leave her notes. One of the guards at the villa, intercepted this note and was like showing it around. You have to get in and get the letter, the love letter, from him, and then take it. Nobody wants to be the person to deliver it because anybody who brings, anything from Hector gets killed. So you have to, so you have to bring it yourself. One funny thing about the villa is that they've got an arcade machine of Freedom Fighters, like a really bad IO interactive game from like the early 2000s, which is very fun. It's just a real deep pull. But you get in and, it's really fraught, like, finding an opportunity to leave the letter on her desk. But when she, finally sees it, she goes out to the balcony alone to read it. Bad people in this game have a very bad habit of stepping up to balconies and leaning against them to soliloquize.
Tons of ledge play.
Yeah.
Going on, ledging.
But, she's
right before
like
the little death.
But she's talking to herself like, oh, should I give him a chance? Maybe he means it sometime. Maybe he means it this time. And I'm like, push. And it would be bad enough if she just landed in the water and died. But there are piranha in the river, and they go into a frenzy and eat her up.
Yeah, that local flavor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The one I did is called Hallowed Ground. Which is pretty fun. So she's running this construction concern, but because they have found human bones on there, none of the workers will continue to work until it's blessed by a shaman.
Yes.
So this is part of her being horrible. Like, she's just like, get the shaman in there so the work can start again.
Yeah.
She doesn't, but you have to become the shaman. So you go, there's a bunch of tourists who are just there, like, stoned out of their mind. It's really fun, like, listening in on the shaman because this, like, one of the tourists is like, dude, she's absolutely stoned on another plane, and the shaman's like, she is on another plane, she's seeing enlightenment, and he's like, no, she's fucking seeing things because you just gave her all these drugs, like, the guy's not aggressive at all, he's just like, dude, like, she's just really tripping, So it's a little clumsy to get the shaman outfit. The only way that I could find to do it was to do like a trail of coins. basically, like coin him out to the behind the shed.
Yeah.
But you dress up as the shaman, you go to the construction site, and you do a little blessing there. And, and she goes, okay, you've had your whatever, back to work now, and she takes the opportunity to do a tour, and you can, she stands in front of the big pit where they found the bones, and you can turn on a cement machine that drowns her in cement.
Oh, gruesome.
Into there. Yep. Makes her part of the foundation.
It's like the end of the Super Mario movie.
Yeah. Yep. So that's very fun. And then my least favorite of these three, just because I think it's the least like interesting area to go to.
Yeah, the mine, the drug factory.
Is Jorge Franco.
Right.
Here, and I did the same one that you did. The same one. I have not done the second one.
Yeah, like the opening of it's pretty fun. So as you're going around in the town, there's like a little like a bed and breakfast or a hotel kind of thing, like a 1-room boarding house kind of deal. There's this hippie burnout here. Who's actually he's from the Sapienza level, actually. Yeah, like he's a return, which is very funny. Like all of these continuity nods are too subtle for me to see in the moment, but he's here. But he's talking to his buddy about how like, oh, I was supposed to deliver this cocaine souvenir to Franco, but I broke it, and so he's like asking everybody if they have any glue, because he's supposed to take it and deliver it to a cave entrance nearby. Cocaine souvenir, like what is that? That sounds like I don't know, like an Eagles B-side.
Yeah, it sounds like a euphemism for an STD.
Yeah.
Like like Eric Clapton caught a couple of cocaine souvenirs during his time with Cream.
Yeah. But no, like it is like Franco has, to aid in smuggling, like started shaping cocaine into like toys and then covering it with a special lacquer to make it undetectable. Yes. Franco has, has busted it. So you have to poison it. So I used rat poison. And then also like there's only one bottle of glue in the entire village, and the mechanic has it.
What is this, Fallout 4? Like, how is it so valuable? And the reason why you have to poison it is because Franco is famous for his like taste.
Yeah.
He can just taste he's got a famous like just tongue for drugs in terms of tasting whether cocaine is good or not.
Yeah. No, he gets up in that schneef. And so, you got to poison it. I think that, so I had like rat poison was the most readily available thing. But I assume you could do lethal poison or even like sedative poison. Sedative poison's a little bit of a bummer in this. Like it's never as useful as I think it's going to be, because it just causes people to collapse with everybody around them, and they freak out.
It's never going to be good for your targets.
Yes.
Like it can be good for getting a disguise.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's going to be, or if you are, so you're getting a disguise, you're trying not to kill anybody lethally, kill anybody who's not the target.
Yeah.
You put a sedative poison in their drink in their office so you can take their thing. But it's not good for the actual target at all.
The emetic poison gets them to run to a place that is generally not overlooked, which is what happens here.
Yeah. And lethal will just kill them, and it's counts as an accident, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
If it's in their drink, so you can just get the hell out of there. And if not, you have a bunch of time. So as the hippie, you go and you go into the smuggler tunnel, you get frisked.
The dialogue as you're brought in is really funny. Because you're like, oh, I didn't think you peace and love ties would be in with like a brutal cartel like this. Like, that never really worked for me.
Yeah, peace and love has never been my thing.
I does what I needs to get what I needs. or something. It's like...
So you basically just have to get through this, like, and it's really cool how detailed it is, like the scary drug forest. But you eventually give him the statue. He breaks it open, and then taste it, and he either dies or goes to go puke, and knock him off. The other way to do this is to shove him into a cocaine processing machine, which I have not done. No, so I don't know very much about that one.
It seems like it'd be really hard to get in here without somebody bringing you in. I'm positive there's another entrance, like maybe in the villa, but like there's a set of tunnels. So you can go from the compound there, and there's a dead guard who washed up on the shore of the river. So there's a way to get a guard costume pretty quick. Okay.
which is just like neat little detail.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
but I escaped on a seaplane, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's real fun. So we get another cutscene here. This one is called Untouchable.
Yeah.
So we're in Surrey, England. Diana is recording a debriefing on this Columbia mission. And she looks over towards her brother's gravestone, and we get a flashback to her parents apparently talking about how this company was responsible for 80 deaths and how they're not going to face consequences. And the mother, I think, says, well, no one's untouchable.
Yeah.
And small Diana overhears this.
Mm-hmm.
The dad gets in the car and explodes.
Yes.
So this is a car bomb that killed them both.
Mm-hmm. Cutting to the present, and there are 3 gravestones there, marked 1989. So Diana lost everything in the same year, in the same, basically same traumatic incident.
Punisher origin. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we cut to a different place. Gray has, the Shadow Client. We're just going to call him Gray, or Subject 6 from now on. He has strapped a time bomb to the scientist bound to a chair, and he leaves the skyscraper by helicopter.
Yep. Just checking it, like he's still about.
Yes.
This sets up our next mission, Chasing a Ghost in Mumbai. The militia has released a hostage tape revealing their existence to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out there's this pirate terrorist named the Maelstrom, and his team has reactivated as Gray's eastern cell in Mumbai.
Yes.
So the trick is we have 3 targets that are related. Vanya Shah, this bandit queen there who is a sweatshop owner and a monster. Mm-hmm. This producer, Dawood Ragan, who is also a monster and is trying to force actresses to kiss him and stuff.
Right.
And then somebody we don't know who it is, the Maelstrom. We just know the code name. We know they're there. We know the gang that he used to work with, but we don't know what he looks like.
Right.
We
could be anybody. He does end up being a person with very distinctive facial scars, but he could be anybody. So part of the mission is like getting a visual ID on him, so you make sure that you're killing the right person.
Yeah. Every time you do this mission, they randomize the clothes that he's in. And they randomize who he is. Yeah. As far as who's in there. So that's the tricky part of this. And I didn't love that part of this mission. The other 2 kills are great, and the environment's great.
Yes, the environment's very good. I mean, and like the environment is complicated by the fact that the Maelstrom's old gang, the Crows, they're on the lookout for potential assassins. They know that, okay, we're reactivated. The Maelstrom is a high value target. We need to offer protection. So they can clock you at a distance, no matter what you're disguised as.
Yeah. Which is why you have to use the crowds in this area, which is just absolutely, panic attack inducing dense.
Yeah. It's weird playing this in COVID times, I gotta say. Not to make everything about that, but wow. Yeah.
Well, it's 47 gets a little 6-foot ring around him when he's in brush.
Yeah.
Or in a crowd. He gets the social distancing marker.
Nice. Yeah.
Around him. It's just stay out of there. And people are constantly saying stay out of my personal space.
Yeah.
With him. And we know it's because of his fucking horrendous rotten breath.
Well, of course. Yeah.
But, so I did not do, so this is as you can see, as we get through the number of these that I did kind of drops off. In the earlier ones I've done all of them multiple times or multiple stories, and these ones I've not done all of them.
Yeah.
So I've not done this first one. I've only done the second 2, Dawood.
That's good. I like that we've got kind of overlapping coverage on here. Picture perfect. It's a little bit inelegant the way that it ends up happening. You get yourself into a situation that's very hard to get out of. But when you're walking down the street, there's this production assistant who hails you down because you're English. They're like, "Hey, have you seen this famous Broadway actor around, Gregory Arthur? He's due for a photo shoot with Dawood, but he's not showed up." You're like, "Okay, no, okay, that's going to be my target. That's how I need to disguise as." And Diana, she does a little bit of social media sleuthing for you. It says, "Oh yeah, he just uploaded a selfie from the Mumbai food district, but he is not having a good time. He's basically going back and forth between a food cart and the open sewer to sample things and then vomit." While he is dressed up like a Michael Stipe jackass. He's in a denim hoodie with an angel wing shoulder dress and purple gloves.
Those little angel wings are on everybody in the movie set.
Yeah.
It's real wild. Yeah.
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 But you gotta
so
wait.
I didn't do this one. He's puking because, is it like for anorexia or like bulimia reasons? Like, is he puking to like, since he's a model? Is that the idea?
I've got no idea. Like, he goes over to like a food cart and is like, oh God, garlic, not garlic. And then he walks back over to the ditch, to throw up. So I don't know. It's not great. Like, you can probably read it like a bad thing. Like, oh, it's strange food. Like, just my constitution can't handle it, or if it's a eating disorder kind of thing. No idea. But I push him into the sewer, and I think he died. If he didn't die, then he'd probably wish he was dead. But I got the disguise that way. And that gets you up to the shoot where you get, like, you're there to take some cast photos. And Dawood, who's apparently like this composite of a bunch of Bollywood directors, including like a composite of all of their, of some of their sleazy, bad harassing behavior. He's pompous, and he's, basically openly threatening to blackmail actresses and things like that. And he wants to speak to Gregory Arthur alone, and the photo shoot is taking place on this unfinished building. So like, you follow him and all of his bodyguards up to the 5th floor, and you're just kind of left alone in an area that is like ridiculously full of murder implements. Like, there are shotguns laying around, there are hammers, there's all this stuff. And like, he's dressing you down, like he's doing all of these, like, if you play ball with me, I can make you a star, this is the biggest, et cetera, don't cross me, all that. And like, he follows you around as because he just, he demands to be respected, and you can like walk him over to the ledge, and he'll like go over to it and like gesture at the city while he's doing it. And you're out of view of the bodyguards, so you just give him a shove. But the problem is, you can't leave without him. Yeah. Like, hey, where did our boss go? So like, I had to knock out the first two and then take a new disguise as one of the bodyguards to get out.
And just get the hell out as quick as you can.
Yeah.
All the things with Dawood are basically him being a huge prick.
Yes.
So the two of them that I did, one of them is he's shooting this movie. The main actress in it, this starlet, he's playing the male lead, and he wrote in a kiss for it that apparently doesn't make sense to the character. So the actress was super mad and threw the script away, so they can't shoot. You have to go find the script. Like, she threw it down an elevator shaft, and once you find that, the scene can continue, but they're doing it in front of a industrial fan that's usually used for clearing out mines. Of things. So you just you pose as a tech with a screwdriver, and you just pump up the fan to blow him off the building. Which is real good.
Oh, please, Dawood Reagan, big fan.
Yeah, big fan. It's real funny how nobody does anything, because I waited for the actress to leave the scene because I didn't want her to die. Not because I was trying to necessarily, like, lots of people, I took their disguises and they died. Yeah. But I was just like, she doesn't, she's getting sexually harassed here. Yeah. But everyone, she's just like, wait, the fan is too strong. And he talks about it for a little while, and nobody like steps in or anything. A couple people look over and they're like, huh? And then it's just like, this guy. The coolest one of these though, is Broad Strokes, where they do, again, just a real neat Hitman thing in this, is that there is another assassin who is working in town, who is hired by the Maelstrom, I believe, called the Kashmirian, and you can help him out. Yeah. He wants to kill Dawood. So you do it by like doing things like, this was the one I did the first time I played it. So my memory is not as strong as the I just did the fan one, but like, you go in, you find his like sniper setup, you see where it's at, and you're like, okay, I need to put Dawood here to give him opportunity. Yeah. And then you like adjust his sniper sights to make it focus. Like, you set him up for success. And then you go pose as a painter who's painting an Andy Warhol-esque pop art portrait of Dawood. Okay. To get him to stand in place in front of the sniper rifle.
Oh, that's so good.
It's really cool. And stumbling upon the sniper rifle's apartment the first time the sniper's apartment was super cool. Like, gave me like Deus Ex vibes of just like, I was just snooping around. Like, fuck, you know? And I love shit like that. Like, I love, you know, just, oh, this is a real detailed thing with other agents working. I think there is one for Vanya as well. Because I think he's hired to kill both of them. I could not find the lead for the Vanya, like what I need to do to have Vanya get shot by the sniper, though.
I was reading about it. You can get the Kashmirian to kill all three of them. But I did not see specifically how. It's just a way that it can go down.
It's like a challenge thing.
Right. Which I don't know. Why would 47 care? Like, all right, if they're dead, they're dead. I've got no pride in this. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man. Vanya Shaw is great, and by great I mean fucking awful.
Gotta go.
Yeah. So you know, she is living in the train yard, which she has converted into her own little like magic kingdom, and has set herself up as the person who is like controlling all of the water and all of the food and resources, and like people have to come and pay tribute and beg her to have their basic needs fulfilled.
In terms of like servitude,
yes,
they had to beg her and they pledge service. So like when you're introduced to her, you get to see somebody who is begging, and it's like 5 years of servitude,
right,
to take care of these bills.
Yeah,
you know, yeah,
it's fucking awful. Yeah. So gotta go running sweatshops and stuff like that. But as I'm walking around the town, so this mission that I ended up doing was called A Dress to Die For. There are some service workers talking about how Vanya wants this famous tailor in town to make a dress for her, but he won't cooperate. He doesn't want to work with her because a bunch of other tailors in the town have died. She has killed them because they have disappointed her.
Yeah, it's the worst. So you need to knock out the tailor, get his disguise, and then you have to make sure you get the right color of cloth, like the right bolt, which that's a great scene where you have to haggle.
Yeah. I love that you just wait. Like 47 doesn't say anything, and it starts out at like 5 coins. And there are enough coins in the closet and on the closet in the tailor's house. You can also come with coins. Like it starts out at 5. 47 doesn't say anything. He just stays silent until the vendor talks himself down to 3.
Yeah. Yep. And you just stare. It's very good. Yeah. Once you have that, it's pretty easy.
Right.
You go there and she just says, just go there and take measurements, and you strangle her with the measuring tape.
Mm-hmm.
So, the other thing you can do is, so she has, this kind of sweatshop, this laundry works where people serve her. You become the new foreman. A foreman has, quit or been fired. You become the foreman. This is or been killed. Yeah. Fed to the hippo in the last map. There's an interesting thing you can do here, though. You can go as the foreman and give people breaks. She just go up and say, I take 5. And then when you're doing the meeting with her before you get her alone, she yells at them for the things you did. Like she yells at them for taking breaks. And it's really sad because it's like, I didn't know that she was going to scream at them for drinking water, and I just said like, yeah, you look thirsty, like grab some water.
Yeah. You deserve a break.
So this is the thing I like about this is you can talk to her alone, but I could not resist pushing her off the ledge when she was addressing all the people, and then getting shot at and running because I was just like, yeah, fuck you, like
I will take a shot or two so that this person can die in front of the people that she's oppressing.
Yeah. Yep. And then finally the Maelstrom, which we get a couple leads about this. But just barely.
Yeah.
We know about the Crow's headquarters, so we can go there. And we hear that the Maelstrom is really interested in knowing when the barber shop will reopen.
Yeah, because he's using the barber as an informant.
Yes.
For all these other people. So he's laying low, but he wants to go back and basically learn what he needs to learn. And so like if you go to the barber, you can actually hear him say like, I lost the picture that says what the Maelstrom looks like. They're going to kill me. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. He's like hiding out, in the upstairs of his house. So you have to go to the crow's hideout to like find the reference picture that he left behind. Yeah.
Yep. So you can see, and then you become the barber. And you have to do, you can do a bunch of shaves for just randos.
Yeah.
Here you get like an achievement for that.
Yeah.
But eventually the Maelstrom wants to be shaved in private. Make it a close shave, like all that kind of, yes, sir. You won't feel a thing. All those great little Hitmanisms.
Yeah.
And then he dies.
Then he dies.
Yeah.
Gets
cut his throat.
I love his vague speech. It's like, yes, a tide is coming.
Yeah, look around you, my friend. Things
Everything
are changing.
is mine. Everything's going to change.
Yeah. Yep.
It's so good. I didn't do the flames rekindled one. It's, I guess you could he has a house under mob protection, and you can get him to come there. I just read about that one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Like I did not mess around with that.
And generally, like if you want to, and also if you want to just kill him out on the street, want to do a sniper kind of thing, you still have to get a hold of the picture and ID him. Like there are people who vaguely match his description marked on the map, and you have to like get close enough to them for Diana to do a positive or negative ID.
Yeah, you don't need the photo. Diana can do it. You just have to be close.
Gotcha.
So that's how I did it the first time. I just like hung out in crowds.
Yeah.
Trying to stay, keep a distance. And that's kind of why, this is my least favorite map. Like why this is only a B+ to me is I don't like the Maelstrom stuff very much.
Yeah.
Like doing that I found tedious. Every time I would arouse suspicion, it just involved kind of running around the block and then just, okay, I need to find somebody taking a piss in an alley to change clothes.
Yeah.
Or just wait, It was surprisingly like weight and task based.
Yeah.
In terms of achieving the stealth. So this starts a cutscene called Homecoming, where we get, in Romania, 47 is looking around this abandoned facility in the mountains. This is his old institute for troubled youth.
Right.
Here.
And the Shadow client, Lucas Gray, recently bought the property, and he is here waiting for 47. Diana says, it's a trap. And 47 says, no, it's an invitation. And this is where the conversation takes place. He talks about, this is the place where Providence trained us to be killers. They took everything from us, and Gray remembers and 47 doesn't, because of like specific, like scientific and chemical things that they did. But 47 gets a little flash. He sees these bloody handprints on the wall that kind of match up with these scars on his hands. They did like a Blood Brothers kind of thing.
Yeah. Yep. So in the past, we learn Gray, who is known as Subject 6, he was saved by something 47 did. We don't know what exactly. And basically they say their mission statement here, like, 47 asks to what purpose, and Gray says to take them all down.
Yeah. It's interesting seeing 47 and Gray stand next to each other because they look very similar, but Gray looks more grizzled because he's had a harder life.
Because he has emotions.
Well,
like
yes.
They talk about that, like how he remembers stuff.
Right. And also he has hair. So like they look like brothers more so than clones, but the resemblance is definitely there. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Even though he's got like the vampire voice.
Oh, of course.
So, yeah. I don't know if it's actually the same guy, but it's very similar.
Yeah.
So this starts off another life. This mission.
There's another cutscene before that. Long shot.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. It's so weird they put multiple ones in there. Yeah. So these little mini movies.
Yeah. But in Long Shot, Gray is kind of explaining what happened to Diana and 47. They're in Berlin, kind of saying like, hey, we had this father, his name was Ort Meyer. He worked for Providence, and that is why.
You said that like his first name was Ort and his last name was Meyer.
No, his last name is Ort Meyer.
It's Ort Meyer. Yeah. You're like, his name was Ort Meyer.
Hi, my name's Ort. My son's also named Ort.
Yeah, my son is. I'm not going to let you get away with Ort as a first name here, man. Ort Meyer.
And so like the fact that their training had to do with Providence is why the Shadow Client is going after them, and why 47 should be too, because of what they did to him. And to get to the head of Providence, the leader of Providence is always called the Constant, but there was this first Constant who founded it, back after the fall of the Berlin Wall.
So they feel like the first Constant might have some of that info.
Yeah.
To kind of show good faith, Gray and his handler Olivia offer up their bargaining chip here, which is an antidote to the memory wipe that 47 had. Olivia, I think, is the only voice actor in the game that I think is not like pitch perfect.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's not enough gravitas. To her voice performance. It just kind of she sounds casual.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, there's nothing casual about what anything you're doing. Everyone else, it's not bad voice acting. It's everyone else is just like, I'm saying every line with tons of importance.
Yes.
And then there's one person who's just kind of like, you're going to give away our only bargaining chip. It's like I got inserted into the game or something. Oh, that's weird.
Huh.
You're gonna kill people for money? Fucking wild.
Oh, you've done this a bunch? Well, that's gotta fuck you up, son. Oh,
yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, huh. You guys are weird. That's fucked.
But they inject it, and it's not instantaneous, but 47 immediately has a flashback of being spoken to, getting a talking to from the Constant about Subject 6's escape attempt, and he remembers who the Constant is. It is this guy named Janus. That's how they pronounce it, as not Janus. It's not like the Greek god, it's Janus, like anus, is how they say it, and that bothers me, but here we are. Headed to Vermont, where he is living his Henry Hill Blue Heaven lifestyle in the suburbs, in a fictional suburb of Vermont.
Yes. So we're going to go find Janus. He is a legendary Cold War spy master, thought a favor and defected. He won't respond to interrogation or torture.
No.
Basically, like, we can find him, but we're not going to be able to get anything out of him. We need to actually get information while we're here as well.
Yes.
It's not just about capturing him or killing him. He does need to die, but we also need to find some stuff out. He also has a head of security, Nolan Cassidy, which you have to take out. So this kind of gives us, is interesting. It's like 3 missions, two hits, but then a laundry list of other things we have to do.
Yes. Trying to establish a connection between Janus and Providence, and also, enough information to build kind of this plausible deniability that Janus was pulling the strings behind the Shadow Client all along.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite level in the game.
It's so good.
It's interesting how I was thinking about it in terms of geometry, because on this second run through, I noticed that the houses have the same layout.
Yeah.
And I hadn't noticed that before. And I was like, I can understand why this might be disappointing to some people in terms of like verticality or variety in a wireframe.
Yeah.
It's so fucking novel to do stuff in an area that I feel like I could just like walk outside and find an analog to.
Yeah.
It is like something in video games that'll always appeal to me.
Yeah.
Like, bring me in a real space. Like, it is fun to be in a shopping mall. It's fun to be in, a downtown thing. Like, and this is such a good articulation of like, here's a little city block in the suburbs of Vermont. With all of the weird, like, one of the guys has a growing pot in his garage.
Yep.
Several ex-spies live here.
Yeah.
You can find, like, it has all these little secrets. It has that like secrets of suburbia feeling to it.
Hey, Gary, what's happening behind those picket fences?
I know. We get to find out.
Now we get to see. Yeah. No, it's wonderful to go into an ordinary space, and like when I noticed that the floor plans were really similar or they were mirrored from each other, I was like, oh yeah, like it's probably the same developer who built these, and like it's the personal details of the ways it's the ways that everybody kind of used the space that makes it that makes it valuable, that draws attention to it. And also, like, they have their own yards and stuff. Like, the fact that you're just on this block with all of these events going on, like, there's a little political rally, there's a free muffin day, there's a backyard barbecue inviting for a new neighbor, like saying like, hey, just housewarming kind of thing. And the fact that you have this Cold War spy master living here who needs to have all of these bodyguards, and so all of his people are taking over the neighborhood, and kind of seeing the tension that has there. Like, I don't know, I dig it quite a bit.
Yeah. Yep. It's really, really compelling.
Yeah. I understand why people might be annoyed, because like going after the clues is a little bit like figuring out the identity of the maelstrom. Like, it's something you have to do every time. It's the same
every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like the virus in Sapienza. It's just not that interesting of a goal. Mm-hmm. But I like what it does in terms of putting you into places. And the actual hits in this level are really fun to me.
Yes.
So the clues, and you don't have to there are multiple clues. You only have to get 3.
Yeah.
But there are more than 3 here. So we find out there's a frog habitat behind one of the houses.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fun. You get to crawl through a frog habitat if you like that. And they talk about something being buried back there.
Right.
So if you go there, we find a note that implies Janus and the Constant meet regularly.
Yeah.
You can also find this out from finding a lawsuit that one of the neighbors has against Janus, because he has a helicopter lands and picks him up once a year. To take him to this meeting.
Okay.
So he's trying to sue him to stop having helicopters land in the neighborhood.
It's pretty disruptive.
Yeah. So those are 2 of them. There is there's a bunch of these actually. So I guess it is different every time.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know about the second one. I didn't know about this robe.
Yeah. It's like a ceremonial robe. So, the muffin company, there's a lot of shady shit going on with this. Like Helen's Muffins or something like that. Like if you go into the basement, the actual area is called the murder basement. I guess they are using humans somehow in the muffins, which is pretty sinister and out of nowhere. But she's also a tailor, and she is mending the ceremonial robe that Janus needs to wear. When you go up to her little sewing room, you can put it on. There's a note inside that has like a meeting time. So again, it's pointing to this other non-Providence secret society.
Yeah. Which is fascinating. The other clues that I found. We're getting there's a microfilm that Janus has that you have to view. So you have to find it in his basement and then find another person who had the hobby of having a microfilm viewer. And then somebody is reading his diary. One of his bodyguards is reading his diary, which is pretty weird.
Yeah.
And he's hanging out by some garbage men. It felt a little bit like here's the miscellaneous. Yeah. Zone, like Garbage Man and Errant Bodyguard and the doctor who likes feeding ducks are all hanging out in this corner of the map.
Get your disguises over here.
Yeah, disguises. Miscellaneous crew over here.
Yeah. One thing that I love about one of the earlier clues, the frog habitat, it's the habitat for North America's only poisonous frog. So you can totally frog poison people.
Yeah, nature's all-star.
Yep.
You can pick up poisonous frogs in the second map as well.
On Columbia, yeah.
Which is in Columbia, the third map. So I'm glad you did the house for sale. This is my favorite mission in the game.
This is so fucking funny.
I just think it's really funny. It's not like it's that compelling as a thing. I just find it very funny.
Yeah.
So we find out that Nolan Cassidy is looking for a house here, the bodyguard.
Right.
He's trying to find a house. And he's supposed to meet a realtor, but the realtor can't stop eating these fucking muffins. And that scene is real fun to watch for a little while too. So I guess I can wait a few more minutes and squeeze a couple more of these bad boys down. And like, I'm a man of carriage who loves a pastry. How many muffins am I eating a fucking sitting, dude?
They're really big muffins. Yeah.
Like how many human fists can I eat?
I don't know.
Worth of muffin.
I mean, like if I eat 2 muffins, that'd be my night right there.
Yeah. I'm not ashamed to say that like there have been times in my life where I have made a meal out of 2 bagels.
Yeah.
And that's more so about flavor. Like I'm like that bagel is fucking good. Like I'm not so hungry, but like, man, bagels. Yeah. A little salt on there and then mixed with cream cheese and stuff. It's so fucking good. Yeah. And then I'll have a second bagel, but that does put me out for about 8 hours. Where it does basically make me go take a nap inside a trunk or a closet on my own. I just put myself into it.
Yeah. So you want to disguise yourself as the realtor. Fortunately, right across from the muffin stand, there is the house that has the grow operation, and there's tons of rat poison there because I guess the rats are getting up there in the sticky buds. Yes.
Yeah.
There's an item you can pick up here, just a cannabis joint. And it's really funny. Like, I don't know. Maybe this shows how old fashioned I am. There's a point where I was being frisked and I was like, oh, this isn't marked as an illegal item. That's weird.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Vermont, man.
Sanders
in charge. Like, he's not gonna.
Yeah, gets weird up there.
Yeah.
But you take the realtor's outfit and you go and you give a tour of the house.
And it is just low key, like, one of the funniest things in the game, because Agent 47 is a polymath who is good at everything.
Yeah.
But hearing him describe like a house through his lens is just really, really good. The obvious part of it is him describing it from an assassin's point of view.
Yeah.
Which is like, dark floors, easy to get bloodstains out of, but there's also him just being a starman about everything. Like, many people watch television here or socialize.
Yes.
And it's just really, really funny. And eventually, the Cassidy's also really funny because what is the Simpsons thing where it's like, don't you have any other stories? Maybe something about an evil island? When the German Homer comes back.
Yeah.
He's like, doesn't this place have anything else you can show me? Like, maybe, I don't know, secrets in the basement?
Yeah.
Like, the game tries to teach you where the end of the mission is.
Yeah. He says,
but you get an achievement for doing all the rooms.
I knew I should have done all the rooms. I figured he would get annoyed and leave if I didn't take him where he wanted to go. Did
you do the attic at least?
No, man, I didn't. I need to fire this back up and do the fucking attic. What's he say about the attic?
The attic is really good. Well, he doesn't come up to the attic. You just go up to the attic and talk down to him.
Okay.
It's a standard attic prone to leaking and having various molds. And it's like, what the hell are you showing me the attic for? Get down here. I don't care about the attic. It's really good. You can't even sell it. You're just like, it's trash. You body this attic.
Yeah. You really cut it down to size.
Somebody roast this attic for me.
But he asks like, hey, I need to see more storage. So you take him down to the basement. This kind of plays a little bit more to his real motive. Like he knew somebody who lived here before, like Schmidt was his name. Just like another, cagey secret agent person. And there's this vault down here. And Nolan decides to be a big shot, like, oh yeah, I know this model. And he sends his bodyguard out, cause he doesn't, I don't know why he does it. It makes no sense. But he goes up and he's
he does it to get, he's like, it doesn't correspond with what's happening right then. But the reason he does it is, he's like, hey, can you see this from outside? Like, does the garden have any weird lumps or any weird angles?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a concern, but he could have checked that on his way in.
Yeah. So, but he's like, oh, most homeowners don't reset the default password. So he opens up the door and deactivates the lasers, and then he goes and walks in, leaving you outside the vault door next to the panel. And as he's just going down the features of this vault, you can reactivate it. He hears you doing it and says, wait, what are you doing? No, the lasers come on and it activates the explosives, killing him instantly.
It explodes him. Yeah. If you go inside that vault, you get exploded. It's kind of, the bodyguard comes back pretty quick.
Does he?
You after check. Yeah. So I had to hide the body really quick, which is, I think it probably depends on how close he is to the explosion.
Maybe.
Because people will hear explosions.
Yeah. No, I walked out the front door. It was not a big deal.
The other ones, I've done one of these other ones. One of them, he goes to the neighborhood cookout, like the 30s themed Americana cookout.
Yeah.
And you can set him on fire at the cookout, and you disguise yourself as a server, where you can poison him or you can set him on fire through that. At the cookout. And then the other one, you can dress up as a pest control guy while he's fumigating his house.
Yeah.
To kind of poison him there. Neither of those are as fun as the realtor one.
Yeah.
Do the realtor one. Yeah.
I need to go back and see that attic thing, man.
It's funny. It's like 2 lines.
Yeah, but
it's a very.
I never took him upstairs. I don't know. What does 47 say about a bedroom?
He says, I suppose you could use this as an office or a spare bedroom if you're entertaining guests.
We call this a bonus room.
Yes. Yeah. I'm glad you did the whack-a-mole one because I have not done this one.
Oh, cool.
So
yeah. So for Janus, he's an old guy, kind of mostly bound to his house. However, there's a lot of activity. He's got all these, gardeners, he's got handymen and his bodyguards around. When you're outside of Janus's house, there's a gardener he's getting a talking to, and this starts the story mission for Whack-A-Mole. This gardener was pulling a Bill Murray in Caddyshack. He was going after a mole who was digging around in the yard by trying to use explosives. So he had these remote explosives, and he was plugging up the different mole holes to try and isolate the mole and blow it up. The explosives were confiscated. So this gives you the opportunity to dress up as a gardener, go and get those explosives, and set up a fun little trap. You got to go steal that from a sheriff deputy truck. That's not super easy because they're on high alert in their own little cordoned off area, corner over there. But when you go out back behind Janus's house, the foreman of the gardeners is like, "Hey, all right, so what you need to do, you need to plug all the holes up with the junk, and then put the explosives down on one of them, and the junk that I had was like, here's my silenced pistol that I'm not going to use. here's all the weapons that I pulled. So it was like pop cans and then weapons, to plug down there, and they call out Janus to inspect it because he needs to see, he always needs to verify that everything is hunky dory. And when he's over by where I planted the explosive, I am 2 houses away and watching him through instinct mode, and then boom, pull the trigger. He's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get an achievement for stuffing all the holes with muffins as well, which I like a lot.
Yeah.
They're like, well, it's one of the person says, well, your methods are unorthodox, but I can't argue with your results.
Yep. Well, that's what he says if you use guns too.
Yeah, that's very cute.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. What are some of the other ones? There's several options for this.
Yeah. There's a bunch. So the 2 of them I've done are apple a day and no smoking.
Okay.
Neither of which are that interesting. No smoking is just his guards hide his cigarettes from him since he's on oxygen. Mm-hmm. So you find a pack of cigarettes and then put it on his desk, and then you loosen his oxygen tank. Mm-hmm. So he blows himself up. It's nice because you don't have to be anywhere near there.
Right.
The other one, you have to go and become his nurse there, who is a real talker.
Yeah.
People don't like him, and he's off feeding the ducks. So you have to distract him from that. You have to scare away the ducks by throwing something in the water.
Oh.
And then they're fine.
Okay.
They just got scared. They didn't get murdered. And you dress up as the nurse. You come back. He's very happy to have a replacement.
Yeah.
The cool thing about this, though, is that you get in there. You're like, okay, we have to start the exam. And the bodyguard pulls you aside. Mm-hmm. And he's not an enforcer. Nobody's an enforcer at this point, which are the people who can see through your disguise. Mm-hmm. He says, listen, this may seem relaxed, but you run a really tight ship. I'm going to put you in this office here and check out your backstory and run a check on you. So he locks you in an office.
Ooh.
And he's like, don't leave until I get back. And your handler, Diana, calls and says, hey, we can't possibly give you a cover identity in the amount of time.
Right.
We're going to try to interfere with this search, but you need to figure out how to get out of there.
Okay.
So you go out the window and crawl back in, and then kind of do avoid. Everyone's an enforcer now because you're not supposed to leave that office.
You're trespassing, yeah.
You're trespassing. To sneak back into the room with him, and Janice does not know that they're doing the background check. Janice will just let you do the exam.
Oh yeah.
So then you can kill Janice and get out of there while they're still doing the background trick of you.
Yeah, I was reading about this. Everybody who works for Janus talks about how talkative he is. Oh my God, he keeps on telling all these boring stories from his old life. And he doesn't attempt to conceal it. What I read was, can confirm this if it's true. As you are going in and doing this, he talks about oh yeah, we used to run this orphanage where we trained super killers.
Yeah. He looks at you and he says, I knew a doctor once who would find your facial structure very interesting.
Yeah.
He talks about how you're a mix of multiple cultures. They created a perfect man.
Yeah.
He recognizes the work, and right before he dies, he recognizes you.
Oh shit.
For a second, which is really great.
Yeah.
There. There's also a really fun alternate goal kind of achievement thing called Janus Has a Good Day, which you do all the nice things for him. Like you can find out, you get him his cigarettes, but you don't kill him with them. You figure out his favorite drink and you make him that. You do the pest control thing, but you just do it right.
Okay.
Without blowing him up. And then he has a friend who he likes to visit, and you like distract a guard so he can go do it. And then it changes his walk cycle to a strut for the rest of the map. Where he does the, if you hold your elbows out at like kind of at his points, and you kind of walk like that, it changes his walk cycle to that because he's in a good mood.
It's a real mayor's walk. Yeah.
Yeah. He does a mayor's walk, which I think is very cute.
Yeah. That's pretty great. And I like the other one associated with him, Breadcrumb Trail, seemed pretty involved actually. But it's like following a bunch of different clues to like, see exactly how other people are implicated in the weird stuff going on here. But yeah, I didn't see a lot of details about it.
I got lots of bits and pieces of this, like going into somebody's house and then finding out like, oh, they've definitely got something going on as well.
Yeah.
But did not actually follow the trail.
Yeah.
So we go over the clues and start this little cutscene called Gifts and Curses, where we find out about this thing called the Ark Society. The Ark Society is this Illuminati thing that's kind of behind Providence. These are all billionaire survivalists. The idea is that they believe there will be a societal collapse, and they want to live after the end.
It's a real fucking thing.
Yeah,
yeah. So this is based on actual things that billionaires are doing. From like very opulent survival shelters up to like trying to figure out ways to upload consciousness. Like Google has a plan to upload Ray Kurzweil's brain if possible. Read about this if you want to be incredibly depressed about the way resources are being used to surpass humanity and leave all of us behind.
Yep. Good. Any advantages in the human condition will be something you cannot afford.
Right.
So let that set in and be incredibly pissed about it.
But we're learning about them. Olivia suggests, okay, Janus is involved with them. They're probably going to want to, give him a send off. Let's track the coffin. As for where it goes, and they, follow the delivery up to this island in the North Atlantic. And we need to stake it out and wait for this gathering that they're going to have.
Yeah. I wonder if this cutscene is actually different depending on what clues you found.
I don't know.
Because for me, it didn't talk about tracking the coffin. It talked about knowing when the meeting was.
Oh, weird.
Because I had found the lawsuit that corresponded with the helicopter.
Oh, okay.
Thing.
Oh,
so it's like,
cool.
We know the date, it's in a couple months. So I wonder if it's different.
Yeah.
So this starts us with another little cutscene. There are two cutscenes between things called Precautions, where we were back at the conference chamber, the virtual conference chamber.
Right.
And they're talking about the hit on Janus and how Gray will go down next. And they're saying, like, listen to the Constant, which we'll find out.
Yeah.
They're like, we do trust you. However, and he's got this real weasel voice.
Yeah.
You really wouldn't, kind of Peter Lorre, strange voice. And he's like, you wouldn't actually make me do this, would you? And they say, yes, we would. And he says, here's the loyalty. And he injects something into his neck.
Yeah.
So then we're on our way, Gray, we're on our way to the ship or to the Ark Society here. Diana and Gray are talking, asking why Gray stays involved. He mentions, he asks her about her parents' death, which she mentions, and he expresses sympathy. And Diana's like, oh, you have emotions.
Yeah. Like, 47 would never think to say like, oh, I'm really sorry for what you had to go through. And Gray says, it's a dangerous thing having a conscience.
Yep. Which is going to tie into some stuff. So as we approach the Ark Society in the North Atlantic, this private island, we found out that the Constant, he has a poison chip in his neck now. So that is a loyalty thing that they try to ensure through the Ark Society, so they control. And during this meeting, they've given control by these two rising stars of the Ark Society, these twin sisters, Zoe and Sophia Washington.
Yeah. And they are pieces of work.
Yeah, they're horrible.
Right.
Just pure monsters. And it's on an island of monsters. Like it's total Monster Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
So the idea is you're going to split duties. You take out the twins who have the kill switch while Gray figures out how to get the constant off the island.
Right.
Because we can't just take him. We can't kill him because they can kill him at any time. We need to kidnap him and interrogate him.
Yes. And so we arrive through the choppy, the choppy sea to this massive, it's a castle. Like, I don't know what movie this would be from. Like, all the people in mass, it's like an Eyes Wide Shut kind of thing. But like the Ark Society, not just the upper echelon, but like their patrons, like people who pay a lot of money for just access to, I guess, the chance to buy more of their things. It's like a convention for cannibals. They're all gathered here, in masquerade gear, for the festivities, which are all cryptic. And they are all just going to give you the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, it's real creepy.
Yeah.
It's like a Castlevania castle.
Yeah,
like it is a castle.
Uh-huh.
This is an incredible level.
Yeah.
This is really, really cool. So there's a couple of different ones here. I did the first two for Zoe. Here. This is where they have a couple of rituals they're doing. That's why they get together once a year. So one of the rituals they're doing is the funeral, but they also burn a bunch of money in effigy.
Yep.
Every year for their sacrifice to Moloch or whatever.
Yeah. So, as you're going around and exploring, one of the leads that you get is when you get to this back courtyard, there's a huge crowd gathered around, not just the big pile of money that they're going to burn like they're the fucking Joker, but there's a huge metal bird effigy. Zoe, she wants to, add more pageantry to this. The Phoenix, like this thing needs to represent the Phoenix. She is going to stand inside of it, quote, stand inside of it. She'll walk out of the back. But as it burns, and then, she is going to rise from the ashes as it goes. And even Diana says, like, yeah, this is just an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a horrible idea in general. And of course, you just burn her alive.
Well, yeah, you sabotage the door hydraulics so her button doesn't work.
Yeah, after everyone has just thrown all their money into a big pit to set it on fire. As a symbolic, these are just the worst people.
Yeah.
The coolest one of these to me, I did this one and I did the second one. I like the second one better. So Last Honors, where, there might be multiple ways to do this. I did not dress up as an officiant at the funeral. I dressed up as Janus. I found his corpse and dressed up as Janus. Oh God. And, got carried out there. And then at one point, after the funeral's leaving, Zoe whispers to say something, be like, I'm glad you're gone, old man. I can finally take over or whatever. And you stab her in the neck, which has got to be the scariest thing that's ever happened to anybody, which I really love.
Yeah.
So.
The last one, I started this and then it felt like I don't really feel like doing a pixel hunt on this actually.
Yeah.
There are these people who are walking around, every year, the way that they throw a bone to somebody who does, is not already part of established power, they've got like a scavenger hunt. There are these special tokens that are hidden around. Like I found the first one in like one of the demo shelters that they were showing. Like I got the little real estate tour through it. But you gather 10 of these, and this gets you a chance to be interviewed and initiated by Zoe, who comes down and not only administers a polygraph, but also apparently is doing like electroconvulsive like shocks on you as well. I don't, I imagine this is just a way to get her alone so you can take the shot.
Yeah.
One thing that I love about the ceremony when Zoe is up there doing the, addressing the entire crowd as they're burning the money is like, she's doing like all of it is our responsibility to take care of the world and etc. Like it's all this just straight up like, billionaire hypocrisy stuff about it.
Once we get into the, with the Sophia one, with the second one where she talks to Block and talks about how he has a moral obligation to stay as rich as possible.
Yep.
It's like, this is so gross.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be hard for them to outdo it in terms of scum.
Yeah.
To murder in this 2020 moment.
Yeah.
When they make the next game. So
I do not envy them to do that. Yeah.
Sophia Washington has some kind of more fun ones.
Yeah.
So the first one here, I did this one and the third one.
Okay.
I did not do social climbing.
Right. But yeah, so the first one here is Winds of Change. Like as you're going around like the museum, so she has this big she's got a big heart on for artifacts, and like sends raiders in to just basically bust everything up and take all of these very important things to the culture where they're at. So she's like a hands-off Laura Croft, I guess. But as you're up there, you hear these members talking about this the schism that is happening among the ARC founders, kind of the innermost core. There's a coal baron named Block, who is like the one holdout vote on this initiative that Sophia wants to undertake. So you need to take Block out and then take his just ridiculously ornate ceremonial garb. Yeah. He's super
which is a Janus
too.
face.
Oh yeah,
it's like specifically a two-headed mask. He's really hard to get to because he's a bigwig. He's one of the top tier people here. But if you do, you get to go participate in like the vote. And this shit's really interesting from a storytelling perspective. Like what Sophia is doing is saying like, hey, our patrons were people who made tons of money off of climate denial. And causing this problem, climate change denial. Now we're going to make money off of fixing it.
And we're going to look like the good guys.
Yeah, we're going to look like the good guys, even though we did this.
Yeah.
She says, and it's always hard to tell, like, if this is a political thing or if it's just reality having a leftist bent.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's pretty unapologetic villains. They're undeniably people who did this.
And greenwashing is absolutely a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So you get to, you say you've made up your mind to vote, and she like sells you on it. And then during the actual vote, you say no.
You're given an option. You can say yes. And like everything goes without a hitch, and you don't get a chance to get her alone. If you say no, she's like, okay, you dick. Like I need to chew you out. Yeah.
What she specifically says, like, we tried the carrot. Now here's the stick. Like, we're going to destroy you. These people have immense amount of power. I don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
And she does it while standing in front of an Iron Maiden, as you do.
Yeah. That's what, just like, and like there are like, curation staff, like there's museum staff talking about like, so she has an actual functioning Iron Maiden. Like, I thought those were a myth. Like, oh yeah, it's a,
But no, she got one.
So, but yeah, as she is, reaming you out, and 47 is filling in, and he's responding. But when she says, "Oh, you have a moral obligation to be rich," she starts saying like, "Oh, think of your kids, think of your grandkids." 47 says, "I don't have any grandkids." Like, fuck you, And this just puts her right over the edge. She sends everybody out and goes to soliloquize in front of the Iron Maiden.
Yeah, it was the intention was to make her angry enough to be alone. So that's real good, and you get the detonator from her. I don't know social climbing, but It Belongs in a Museum is really great because you get to pose as one of the her Tomb Raiders, who is a parody of Nathan Drake.
Yeah, he's like Blake Nathanson or something like that.
Yeah, Blake Nathaniel or something like that.
Yeah.
And that character is really funny, like overhearing him talk, where it's basically just, the same old, like pretty tired, not tired, but like just it's been done criticism about tomb raiding in general as a thing.
Yeah.
And to clarify, I'm totally on board with that criticism.
I'm
just saying it wasn't invented in Hitman 2.
Well, I just said it earlier. Like, oh yeah, they go in and bust stuff up. Yeah.
Yeah. It just, they go through and bust up stuff.
Him talking with just complete impunity about the horrible things that they have done. And then also saying like, oh, but think about the great things that we preserved and kind of stuff. Again, just the hypocrisy dripping over all of this.
We're creating our own British museum.
Yes.
And you just you eventually show her, you have to get this necklace that you can get from him, and then you strangle her with it.
Yep.
So and that's the end of the game. The rest of it is basically an interactive cutscene. Because once you have the kill switch, the constant puts up no argument.
Yeah.
You just tell him, and he kind of tries to deduce who you are while this is happening with this creepy little voice. And that's real fun.
Yeah, the fact that he is just like a middle manager in everything but like his actual status, but like his, you know, from the way that he talks to the way that he, you know, to his appearance, he just really is like the banality of evil written across a body.
Yeah. He's the DLCs reveal he's actually a little bit more important than that, but this is how he's coming off at this point.
Yes. Yeah, but like you get the ending cutscene of the main game, A Bad Hand, where they have got the Constant tied to a chair and knocked out. And like they wake him up, and this is where the rubber hits the road. They're trying to get the truth out of him, basically saying, all right, either we kill you or, you know, the the Providence kills you. Like, you're useless to everybody, so you might as well talk.
So Diana sends 47 and Gray out to stop any retaliation before it starts, because this incredibly powerful organization is going to, you know, try to take them out. And as they leave, the Constant reveals that 47 was the one who detonated the car bomb that killed Diana's parents.
Right. No one, Mrs. Burnwood, is untouchable. And Diana does not react to that. We go into the next two missions with her basically being the same.
Yeah. I'm sure there will be fallout.
Yes.
From that. And this introduces us to our DLCs, both of which, if you just had the main game, these are recommended. I think these are both really good levels. Not my favorite levels in the game or anything, but just really great.
Yeah. And they're both different. Like, I mean, like, there's nothing
really
quite like them in the main body of the game.
The first one specifically. The second one felt a little bit like a crossover between like Sapienza and Hokkaido, maybe.
Yeah, the big like Hokkaido vibes.
Suites and, big. But this for Golden Handshake, which is in New York, is the only Hitman mission that's ever been entirely out or indoors.
Yeah,
like this is one gigantic building as opposed to a city.
Right. Yeah, it's a gigantic New York bank. You know, like it seems like it used to be a subway terminal or something. It's modeled after an actual bank, like that has the teller bullpen right out in the middle. Like people who are familiar with the city will know which one that is. I don't have the name off the top of the head. But we get this opening cutscene for the mission here, Golden Handshake, which it sounds filthy to me. I don't know why.
A golden handshake.
Yeah. But you know, it opens up with the Constance revelations, and he has given us these three family names like Stuyvesant, something and something. We've traced down those leads. They have all passed away. So it's like the you know, it's like the Sons of Liberty or whatever, the Patriots. Yeah.
But however, the partners are changing identities
right
here, so they're going to have these new partners. It's not going to be those three. But they're going to change identities, and this happens quickly. This is already, my understanding of this was that it already happened.
Yeah.
But they still own investment properties,
right?
Or still own a stake in this investment bank. So they're going to be the only people with their old identities and what they're going to be called in the future.
Yes.
So this gives you kind of your unusual mission for this. And unlike most of them, so you always have to kill the bank director, but you have two different things you can do. You can either break into the bank vault to get this hard drive that has it, or you can find these, zip drives, I guess, that three people are carrying around that each have a part of it.
Right.
The bank director and her two lieutenants.
Yeah. Like one's the head of security and the other's like the head of accounts or something like that.
Yeah.
They're both on their own little patrols. Going around and trying to address like the situation. Like you walk in, and right away you're hearing some gossip. Diana even says like, yeah, there's an internal investigation going on. And the reason why, is because there was apparently a break-in, last night, and they're not involving the authority because they want to, because they're up to some shady stuff. They want to figure out what exactly happened before they, before they take it any further. So security is going to be heightened no matter what.
Yeah. Yep. It's pretty interesting what actually happened with the break-in. I only got bits and pieces of this, but it seems like the security guy has found out that they are working for Providence and is defecting.
Okay.
So like you can arrange a meeting with all three of the heads together, but I end up getting chased out of it.
Oh,
Like I was eavesdropping and then had to leave because of guard stuff. So I didn't get to hear how the end of that conversation happened.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I like the idea that like he was kept in the dark about what they were really doing. Is like, nah, I can't brook that. Yeah.
Yep. It's neat too how really the only you only have one target here in terms of an assassination, so the stories all work for that.
Yeah.
Here, and I did a different one than this. I ended up doing the comedy one.
The comedy one. I want to hear that. Yeah. I when I was making the notes for this, I kind of ran out of time, so I didn't see what the other story missions were.
That's okay.
Yeah, I got you here, bud. Yeah, so I went after Athena Savalas first. She's got this office that is like overlooking the entire
the Astral Clock Tower.
Yeah. She like her office window looks out through the clock at the top of the lobby, and she never really gets out of there. The first lead that I found and followed was this just very conspicuous journalist at the far end, who was like talking on the phone, like, hey, the whistleblower has gotten cold feet. We don't know. I've got no idea. I don't have the goods that we need to publish this expose that's going to ruin this bank. And so you have to like sneak into the middle management office and find the whistleblower who's like, talking to her, talking to like somebody that she is working with, saying, yeah, like I was going to make the handoff, but now all of a sudden we have these investigators here, like specifically looking at the things that I was going to hand over. And you have to like get the packet of information from her desk and get it down to the journalist. When you do that, it takes a few minutes, but the story is published and up in the actual like trading floor, like where all of the account people are. The stock price graph just takes a dive, and everybody starts freaking out. This gets Athena to come out of her office. And I was unsure of like what opportunity this was going to present, because like that ended, I wasn't on a storyline mission or whatever. So I just watched where she went. She walked over to this little like stair landing, kind of area. And the door was guarded by a bodyguard, but nobody could really, see me. I just threw a wrench at the bodyguard, downed him, walked in and pushed her off of the ledge as she was talking on the phone, like saying, okay, shit's hitting the fan. We need to do X, Y, and Z. She fell, died. It looked like an accident. I hit the bodyguard's body, took his, I took his, disguise and the key that he had. And that gave me what I needed to get at the core. So like, I don't know that I like, hit one of the, actual like ironic death endings for that. It was just an opportunity that presented itself, and down she went.
Well, that's how the ones for her work, as far as I know. Like I ended up doing 2 stories to get into her. Okay. But then when you kill her, you just kill her.
Okay.
So the stories are funny though. One of which you go and apply for a job at the bank. The guy who is waiting for his interview has horrible nerves, so he's throwing up. So you go and you disguise yourself as him, and you go to a job, and you have a personality test as part of this, and they show you ink blots.
Oh God!
And it's very similar to the real estate thing.
Yeah.
The images are very clearly like violent things. One of which is the cover of one of the Hitman games with him holding the 2 guns.
Okay.
And they're just like, what do you see? Our core is our precision, excellence, and, satisfaction or whatever. Which of these images makes you think of excellence? And you go, that one, And they're like, what do you see about this? And you're like, a forced perspective. Someone is standing above a corpse, holding 2 weapons, armed, silenced pistols or whatever. And they're like, oh, what more can you tell us? The person is me. And it's really, really good. So you get the job. And then you can move further in. And then when you're further in, you find out that somebody is going to get fired that day. So you have to take their place. They're going to have an audience with her. And
quick turnover here.
Really quick turnover. The disguise, though, is him wearing this like incredibly ugly Christmas sweater.
Oh, yeah?
And I was just like, oh, this is just to make him stand out. But when you get there, that's why he's getting fired.
I heard
it's
this
really good.
When I was in the break room. They were saying like, yeah, I hear Stevenson's going to be going to get the axe. Like, yeah, she really doesn't like the sweater look.
It's really good. Like, she sits down and she says like, oh wait, I've been looking over productivity and stuff like this. And then she's like, tell me, do you knit your own sweaters? And you're like, a man has to have a hobby. And then she starts saying like, you'll have all the time in the world to make sweaters. When you're fired and you go up and you push her out of the window.
What would you do with unlimited time and no income?
Yes, make sweaters. The basement, the data core part is all about getting the right disguises and basically doing a heist. And it's interesting because you have to get it out and you don't start off with like a bunch of exits and everyone will recognize the thing you're carrying.
Yes.
It can't go in your inventory. So you either stealth your way out or you find a briefcase to hide it to get it out.
Yeah.
But it's just like a just real classic, like stealth, it's not really story based or gimmick based. It's just like a little stealth heist game.
Yeah. This was really, really fun. Like,
it's awesome.
Again, it's like, it's the detail, it's the listening. Like when you walk into the area, like people are complaining about how stuffy and how hot it is in their little security room that overlooks the vault, but also has, one of the buttons you need to press to open it. And it's like, well, we turn it on, it'll draw in exhaust from the from the garage nearby. And so like I went, okay, let's put some sedative poison in that AC unit bad boy. Let's turn on the let's hit the thermostat. Boom, they're down. It was the easiest thing in the world. Walk in, walk out, and the garage had an armored car that I could hop in. Like basically nobody right there. I'm just, let's do it. We're good. Very fun heist.
Yeah, really, really neat. Yeah. Like it a lot. After you do so, we get this little cutscene after we get out.
Yeah.
Where Gray says next stop is Paradise, and this is the last bit of the Hitman 2 content, the latest DLC, which came out fairly recently, actually.
Yeah.
I played this year. This is called The Last Resort.
Down in the Indian Ocean, in the Maldives. And we had learned a little bit, like maybe in some of the offices you would find a pamphlet for this company called Haven. It's a company that does reputation management. However, their primary money is made manufacturing new identities for rich criminals. So basically anybody who needs to disappear, they pay $2 million, go out to this resort. They stay there for a while as their identities are scrubbed and they get new ones and then they leave as somebody else.
Yeah. Yep. It's basically, it's making new people.
Yeah.
Out of this, which we've seen a little bit of this. Like, I love the way that all these little threads are tying together. Because this was a thing that was happening in Hokkaido.
Yeah.
And that character, I can't remember his name right now, but the douchebag, the tech douchebag, is here actually, who was trying to make himself look like Helmut Kruger. And that technology all being developed by Kronstadt, that did all this stuff. Like, there's all these little ties. Like, it gives a really good, like, conspiracy feelings to it.
Small world. Yeah.
Small world. So we're being sent in under the cover story that we're Mr. Reaper, a thief that's looking to lay low for a little while.
Tobias Reaper.
Yeah, I love Tobias Reaper so much. The mission is to kill the 3 founders of Haven, which is going to send this area into disarray, which will allow Olivia to get into their servers. Olivia is Gray's handler and is also a hacker.
Yes. Yeah. And our targets are, so we've got Tyson Williams. He's this kind of like ex-low-level criminal who is now kind of the administrator of this place, who is like basically terminally ill in a super, super gross way. We've got this tech wonderkin named Stephen Bradley, who like came up with all the Haven software. And then we have this client care specialist, a con artist named Ludmika Vetrova, who is kind of generally walking out and putting in FaceTime with all of the rich people who come in.
And this is also a really, this area is really interesting in terms of it just being different layout kind of things. Because there's like the public section of it, but both of the Tyson and Steven both have kind of private sections of the island that are their own little biomes. So it's like we have our mansion with the lab under it. Yeah. We have our other kind of like less public facing section of the island. Yeah. And we have to go to these different zones. This is the map I have played the least. Like I went through it a lot, but I haven't done all the stories, I guess. So I played this the most. I played a lot of this in terms of fucking around. Yeah. And not a lot of the story stuff.
Same.
The stories are also really weirdly connected.
Yeah.
In this one. To where like I did not do the thing I ended up doing for So like Vetrova hires you when you're here.
Yes.
As a thief to go get this USB drive. When you go to the villa from Tyson, they also want the USB drive. So you can do things there to get in, like getting the USB drive.
Yeah.
When you come back, you can either get Vetrova alone with the handoff, but if you don't get her alone, then she will call in Steven to discuss.
Ooh, so you get them both together.
Yeah, you do a double drown in the hot tub.
Oh, nice.
That's what I did. I'm sure you could throw like a car battery in there as well. But it was just kind of this interesting story. Like I started in the public section, made my way over to the compound to do a little thief infiltration.
Yeah.
And then came back and took out 2 of the targets. And while I was in the compound, I killed Tyson as well. I did not do a story for Tyson. I just shot him.
Yeah. So the story for Tyson is really apparent at the beginning. And I went and did that. I heard people talking about the USB and I was like, okay, well, it's probably related to a different thing for him. And then I had to exfiltrate. Like I couldn't get out the way that I got in because, I had to climb over a high wall and, worked really hard to get out. And then when I went to follow Vetrova's, like, hey, we need that USB drive. I'm like, well, fuck, I left my disguise in there. So I need to go and break in. It's going to be harder this time.
Yeah.
The story that I did for taking out Tyson. So right at the beginning, you hear this woman talking on the phone very loudly saying like, oh my gosh, this place is beautiful. And she has a point. It's a stunning level visually, like, oh, but she's here with this doctor, her, is her boyfriend. Tyson has summoned the doctor to come in and take care of him. So the doctor spends most of his time before he makes a break to go treat Tyson, walking around his luxury suite, like criticizing the cleaning, like, oh my gosh, this place is filthy. Can you believe the dust on here, et cetera, et cetera. He will stand on top of a trap door, which you can loosen, that will drop him down into the water beneath the stilts.
Yeah. Every one of these little huts is equipped with a trap door.
Yep.
Which I think is really funny.
Yeah. Well, just in case. You never know when you're going to need it. But yeah, killed him. I felt a little bad about that, but he was dicking with the service staff, so that's not good. I took that, and you get into the villa, and Tyson, he's on his last legs, like he disrobes, and like his body is covered with like these scabs and sores and stuff, and you do an examination. And, when he turns around, like, okay, I'm going to listen to you cough, with your stethoscope, putting it on your back, use the stethoscope as a garrote, and then get the hell out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that I know about is that you can, Steven, who is like a fitness nut, kind of guy here. He wants to get on this jet ski. And he almost, he has this habit of being on the jet ski and almost killing people.
Yep.
So the scuba instructor took away his key. So you can give him back his key and make the jet ski explode by planting a remote explosive on it. Or just he goes out in the middle of the ocean and you can snipe him or whatever. Yeah. From there. But it's pretty funny. He is a good comedy character.
Yeah. I just love that he gets the key and he drops everything. Like, oh, sweet. I'm going to hop on the jet ski now.
Navy SEALs. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah. I just oh man.
It's a very beautiful area. As we mentioned, at one point a storm rolls in.
It's after you kill 2 of the targets. So while you're trying to kill the third.
It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love storms.
Yep. And there's more that there's probably much more incident here. Like, I don't know. I found some like flowers that listed themselves as an emetic. So that would be pretty fun. You can pick up starfish and use them as shurikens, like they're lethal throwables, which is real funny.
That's great.
Just a bunch of stuff like that. But
that's absolutely top tier video gaming. Video gaming at its finest here.
Yep.
So we get this little ending cutscene with its big wham, moments here. 47, pilots this raft into the cave where to meet the others. Olivia calls 47 a robot, which again, when I talked about how I don't like that voice actress very much, I assume she was talking about like something that like he planted. You know,
I don't know.
It's real. She's like, "Did your robot do it?" or something? And it's just like, right here. And also, I don't know. That's just like, it's not up to the standards of the dialogue and gravitas of this voice crew.
Yes.
But Olivia gets into the servers, sees all the new identities, but the controlling shares are not being transferred to them. Instead, they're being transferred to the constant. Dun, dun, dun. Diana runs to where they're keeping the constant, and he's disappeared. He's been let out.
Yeah.
And 47 looks down at the phone where it says, presumably Diana has told him this.
Yeah.
And he turns to 47 and says, actually, everything's fine. Diana just said everything is fine. It's time to fulfill our purpose. So Gray is not a good guy.
Gray is working with the constant and is getting 47 close. All of this has not been about, helping his friend, get back at the people who used him. No, the plot thickens.
Yeah. They're also using 47 as a tool. And I am so in the pocket for that kind of plot. I am really looking forward to when he figures it out and gets his revenge, and Gray being the last target of the next game.
Which I can't wait for.
Yeah, it's incredibly exciting. Day one.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It's just this is video games, man. God, it's so good. And there are whole swaths of people who are just like, I can't get into this at all. Like, I don't understand the appeal. This some aspect of my personality, this juts up with either it's the violence or it's the fact that, if you're encouraged to roll with chaos and stuff like that. But in terms of just elements that are catnip to Gary, this is one of the greatest concentrations of Gary nip. Yeah. Like absolute, just snorf it up.
There's a lot of candy here there's lots of candy here for Cole too.
Cole candy and Gary nip, both on offer here.
Yeah. I mean, just like the very well designed, story missions, the fact that they do have that element of humor. Just the number of systems that are at play here that are so well integrated with each other, not just rolling with chaos, but intentionally creating it. Like there's just a lot about this that is quintessentially like a good amount of what I come to video games for.
Yeah. And it feels good to be in those hands, for me, like, oh yeah, these folk know what they're doing. This is like, I almost feel like even if you didn't have a Hitman game, every one of these spaces would still be just like incredibly fun to explore. Like if these were other types of games or even just like a museum, like walk around these zones, there's such well realized spaces in ways that I don't think the medium is doing very often. Like a rare quality of this, and the scale is reasonable. Like you don't end up with it's not like a town in Fallout 3 or in like New Vegas or something. It's like, oh, this is reasonable. Like everybody who's in this town has a place to live. There's bathrooms, there's everything. It's just, that shit is so good. So it just, all I want to do is turn this into my year, but I can't.
Nope. I mean, something else about this, like there's elements of the game that we haven't really talked about. Like this can be a serviceable third person shooter. We just neither of us chose to play it like that. Like I never really did any.
We talked about that in the last episode. A little bit. Like I definitely had some stuff like that happen. Like I forgot to mention it. I wanted to snipe a little bit, and I ended up sniping on this run in the castle. Level. In the last level. And that ended up involving some shooting because I got saw. And it works. It is like a functional good shooter. You probably will get overwhelmed. Because everyone will turn hostile. But for brief moments of like firefights, I ended up at one point on like an aborted like reality, ended up in the basement of Janus's house, and got to have the classic Hitman, like everybody comes and investigates a corpse and then they become a corpse. Like corpse file situation.
Problem with the toilet.
Yeah, I had a problem with the toilet situation, and did it basically like a shooter, like a stealth shooter, and it worked. Headshots left and right.
But like for me, the majority of play ends up being like an adventure game almost, trying to solve these different dependencies and trying to, get through the, the space. But like, I don't engage with it too much as an action game, but there are these very tense moments where it's like, ah, shit, this person saw me. Can I fire off a wrench at their head quick enough before they alert somebody? Yeah. So just like, still getting that, like those moments of tension. As they go through. Yeah. It's a game that contains multitudes, man.
Yeah, it's we have not scratched the surface of it, and like, I live long enough, and I get a chance to to get through my work play and other games that have come out that I really want to play. Like I could just, again, contender for Desert Island game.
It'd be pretty fun to live here.
Version,
yeah.
This specific version with all the Hitman 1 maps, like I feel like I could make my own fun.
Yeah.
For a very long time.
Yeah.
With this.
Also, like good benign bugs. Like there's so much going on that sometimes there's just like animation glitches. Like, in the New York level, like there were people who were just like sitting on invisible benches because their animation and state fired at the wrong place. Like, and anytime where I can bring up bugs that are, additive and goofy and fun, I'm going to do it. So
I also had I forgot about this. In the New York level, they introduced wet floor signs.
So good.
To the game, God. Which is incredibly fun and goofy because all you can really do is move them and then people will slip. But like, I feel like there's something fundamental about video games. Like this ties into the elemental urge that people have to like do emergent gameplay fuckery.
Yeah.
Like that is enough. Like just being like, I removed the wet floor sign. Someone's going to fall and crack their head and then I can steal their suit.
Yeah.
In this section is just enough for me.
Yeah.
Like it's everything that like, you get from like GTA 3 when you're just like playing with the box.
Yeah.
And fucking around. Like it's just, they made a game out of it. And I just, what am I like, just like absolute favorite franchises that I forget about for long swaths of time.
And also that it came to you really late, like I only played I played like half of Blood Money a while ago. Yeah.
I watched a series retrospective to prepare for this episode because I wanted to see what ties there were and like really what the old games were kind of like.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see because apparently Contracts has a lot of DNA with the 2016 reboot in a way that like I was like I don't know if I can go back to it, but if I was going to, that'd be the way. So just good shit, man. Like left to right, like it, pure goodness. So thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Alex,
for sponsoring this. Yeah, and hopefully this is what you were looking for. I understand we didn't go too deep on the repeated mechanics, but in terms of a love fest, this is a love fest.
That's what you got.
If you have things to say about Hitman 2, or Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together, or Mario Golf Advanced Tour, hit us up at duckfeed.tv/contact by the 15th of July.
Yes. If you have thoughts about August's games, which are Disco Elysium and Devil May Cry, the original, the one from like 2002, 2003, the deadline for that is August the 15th. Again, duckfeed.tv/contact. If you have thoughts about multiple games, please separate them out into different messages. That makes it easier for us.
Yeah. Yep. It did sound like you said Deathline instead of Deadline. I like.
Ooh.
Deathline. You can support us on Patreon if you go to patreon.com/duckfeed.tv. We mentioned that first Hitman episode that was a premium. It's $5 to get in on that, but you get all of them. So at this point, it's more than a year of them, and that will continue to get better. And it is fine if you patronize us and drop out.
Yep, we designed it that way.
Yep, and that's probably about it.
I think so.
Ratings and reviews on Apple Podcast, and generally stay safe.
Please do.
We appreciate you. Oh, and if you're hearing this on early release,
yes, this weekend.
Duckfest.
Go to duckfeed.tv/duckfest. We're going to be doing 2 days of shows, live shows on video chat because of plague times. And we're also going to be raising money for racial justice cause. So,
yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be a good ass time. And I think that's probably about it.
Think so.
What should they watch out for until next time, Cole?
Watch out for those car batteries, man.